Here in Hyannis at McKeon Park. We are ready to go for the 2023 Orleans Firebirds season. They're ready for action for Game 1 of the year. Hello and welcome to the Scorching Start pregame show on the Orleans Firebirds Broadcast Network. I'm Dylan Pescator along with Ian Nicholas. We are your broadcasters for the 2023 season, and we couldn't be more excited to bring you all 44 games, maybe a few postseason games as well, of the season right here on the Orleans Firebirds YouTube channel. Well, Ian, let's get right into it. The Firebirds open up their season right here in Hyannis against the Harbor Hawks and are looking to get off to a 1-0 start.
They're looking to get off to a 1-0 start, Dylan, against a team in Hyannis that has made a heck of a turnaround. We'll talk about it throughout the broadcast, but this Harbor Hawks team went from an 8-win club in 2021 to a 20-win team that won a playoff game in the West a year ago. And they have got a manager in Eric Beatty who just knows how to galvanize a group, a summer ball group with a lot of talent, and a group, Dylan, that has the entirety of its roster on hand. And that's an interesting thing, right? An interesting proposition. I can't wait to see how Kelly Nicholson's crew looks for the first time since 2023, since we didn't really get Fenway Day yesterday.
The rain canceled the Fenway Day for us. No workouts for the Firebirds and no scout game, which was scheduled against the New York Yankees scout team at Fenway Park at 6 o'clock p.m. But we're here in Hyannis. A little bit rain earlier in the day. Sunny blue skies right now at 5:46. But, Ian, there was big news out of Hyannis, or out of Orleans today.
Yes.
As a little bit of history.
A little bit of history. The Cape Cod Baseball League, obviously, it's its centennial season. And with it, obviously just like every season, but this season just a little bit more special, there is a new Hall of Fame class. Last year we saw Marcus Stroman, who's absolutely dealing right now with the Chicago Cubs. He got inducted into the Hall of Fame out of Orleans, and this year it's another ace in Mitch Ferris, the Florida native who was a Stetson guy, and we're going to see some Stetson guys in Orleans this summer, but dominated at Stetson, and now in 2015 with Orleans, he was absolutely unbelievable. So congratulations to him. I mean, a 0.21 ERA, Dylan, that's got to be a typo, right? An unbelievable season for the righty, tied for the all-time record with CCB Hall of Famer Eric Milton, who was inducted for his work with the Falmouth Commodores in 1996. So shout out to him. I'm sure the ceremony in November, he'll be honored currently in the Oakland's AA system. So he's got a great professional career going, and now he's able to add one of, if not the best accolade to it, where he dominated here in the summer of 2015. He's back and getting that Hall of Fame recognition. Good for him.
You know it, Ian, and it's all great. Hall of Fame always in November. First pitch about to happen. But Sammy, and let's bring on Sammy Miller, our sideline reporter. You're going to know her. You're going to love her. She has a little bit more about the Firebirds starting pitcher today, Danny Avidia.
Yes, thank you, Dylan. He is a right-handed pitcher from GCU who is starting on the mound today. He has put together two very successful seasons with the Lopes, with his rookie season becoming the first freshman to ever win WAC Pitcher of the Year, and this past season earning all WAC first team. Now, Firebirds fans, if his last name sounds familiar, that is because his older brother David played with the Firebirds in 2019 as a catcher for 33 games. These two are extremely close, and Daniel has said how blessed he is to have David as a soundboard to bounce ideas off of, and I can imagine a lot of advice, not only about baseball, but maybe some best spots to grab a bite to eat as well.
Thank you, Sammy. Daniel Avidia from GCU, from the Phoenix area, as Sammy and I are going to Arizona State. Ian up in Syracuse. We're going to bring on our writer, Brendan Nordstrom, soon. But before we get to Brendan, Ian, we got lineups for both teams.
We got lineups. I mean, obviously, we've had Kelly Nicholson's lineup since the beginning of time, right? Shout out to the 18th year skipper. He's always posting it on Twitter at 7 a.m., and it's a great lineup, right? Starting off with number 12, a center fielder at a USC, Austin Overn, and you might hear a little overlap right now because they're going over the lineups from McKeon Park, and we're going over the lineups here. Batting second, a returning Firebird, number 5, Cam Jones, the designated hitter from Georgia State. Batting third, number 15 out of Kent State, Aiden Longwell playing at first. Batting fourth, number 13 out of James Madison, Fenwick Trimble playing at right field. Batting fifth, number 41, Owen Carpellotti, the catcher by way of Georgetown. Batting sixth, number 16, the left fielder, Jake Casey, also by way of the Golden Flashes of Kent State. Batting 7th, Johnny Olmstead, the third baseman, number 8 out of USC. And number Jack Penny, the shortstop, number 25 out of Notre Dame. And then rounding out the order for Kelly Nicholson today, batting 9th, number 11, another returning Firebird, the second baseman, J.D. Urso.
So that's how the Firebirds line up with Daniel Avidia as the starting pitcher. Let's go over to the opponents, the Harbor Hawks, and see who they got lined up.
Well, we're leading off at second base, number 7, a nice name, Brad Keylori, batting second, number 2, how appropriate, Trey Lipsy, the center fielder, batting third, number 13, Cameron Smith, playing at third base, batting cleanup, number 41, Alex Lane, the first baseman, batting fifth, number 29, Brody Doney, the catcher, batting sixth is the man Eric Snow, the shortstop, number 3, batting seventh. Out of William and Mary, one of the stars of this lineup, number 9, left fielder Ben Williamson, batting eighth for the Harbor Hawks, number 30, Andrew Sundin, the designated hitter, and rounding out the order for Coach Beatty, number 12, a right fielder, Justin Casella.
And on the mound for the Harbor Hawks is number 8, Mitch Ferris out of Wingate University. Ian, let's bring in our writer, Brendan Nordstrom. Brendan, first of all, introduce yourself, and then we're going to get a little bit into the meat and potatoes of the Firebirds.
Good evening, gentlemen. I'm Brendan Nordstrom. I'm the writer for the Firebirds. I'm from West Bloomfield, Michigan. I go to Boston University, and check me out on the website.
That's right. So if you want to see any of Brendan's content, head over to OrleansFirebirds.com to check it out. He's going to have game recaps. We talked about returners in J.D. Urso and Cam Jones, bench and Andy Blake, and then the pitcher and Chris Clark. But talk about how they're coming back for their second season. Got a little bit of experience under their belt.
Definitely, and it's just a testament to Coach Kelly Nicholson and bringing him back. Cam Jones is a really interesting one. He goes to Georgia State. He led them in stolen bases, some speed at the top of the lineup at number 2. He also batted .342 last summer. And you also look at J.D. Urso at the 9th spot in the lineup. He played for Orleans last year as well, 15 games, just under the Mendoza line at 193. Then you got Chris Clark out of the bullpen. He played for Orleans last summer, 0 for 3 with a 5.4 ERA, hoping to get that up this summer. And then we have one from a couple years ago. Andy Blake played 1 game for Orleans in 2021.
So hopefully a full season this year.
Hopefully a full season and a rich season for Orleans in the centennial season of the league. We're still here on the pregame show for Orleans, just about 8 minutes away from first pitch here from McKeon Park. And we're going to take a step aside as we head to the national anthem.
All right, Anthem done. Game is ready to go. Ian and I here on the Firebirds Broadcast Network. 5:55 on the clock. We got about 5 minutes to first pitch. So, Ian, before we finish up in the pregame show, we got to pay the bills. So let's talk a little bit about Siemens Bank.
Yeah, of course, Siemens Bank, one of our great sponsors, obviously, throughout the season, and our official pregame sponsor for our pregame show. As Cape Cod's first community bank, Siemens Bank is proud to support the Firebirds and the special place they hold in the hearts of the Orleans community. Siemens Bank provides our local businesses, family, friends, and nonprofit organizations with the products and services they need, with the local and personal service they deserve. Please stop by any of their branches or go to siemensbank.com and see what they can do for you. Siemens Bank, member FDIC, member DIF.
Huge Firebird fans, Siemens Bank are. Coach Kelly Nicholson and manager Badia over in Hyannis meeting at home plate right now. It's a sunny but a little bit chilly in terms of a little bit of a wind breeze.
Well, Dylan, you're wearing the polo. You need a jacket.
I went with the polo. I think the jacket will come out maybe around the 4th or the 5th. Gonna gauge it, but the energy is running through my veins right now, and it's warming me up.
It is. It's such an interesting dynamic, obviously, between these two managers. One of them in Kelly Nicholson, who, is a guy who has said this league has transformed his life. I mean, no, that's strong words, and he means every word that comes out of his mouth. He is a truth teller. As a teacher back at Loyola High School in the Los Angeles area, California. I mean, starting his 22nd year with the team, 18th as the manager, and his first 11 seasons with the team were unbelievable, and it kind of reminds me of what manager Eric Beatty could potentially bring to his Hyannis team. I mean, I know it's only his second year, and for him to expect to have the CCBL career of Kelly Nicholson would be pretty unrealistic, but, as a 4-time coach of the year, Kelly Nicholson is, but Eric Beatty's got this Hyannis team humming, and all 10 of these Cape League teams can compete with each other on any given night, but it's a fun opening night opponent. I mean, obviously, Orleans got bounced in the first round of the playoffs last year, Dylan, by YD. So not an East Division opponent to start off the year, but a West Division team with a lot of juice and a passionate fan base.
A little bit of interleague play. Let's go over the dimensions really quick of McKeon Park. It's our first time here.
Yeah.
It's 324 down the left field line, and if we can check, 358 down the right.
Yeah, we are currently sitting right behind home plate off to the right side of the dish, so we've got an interesting vantage point, but as Dylan mentioned, 61 degrees, sunny. It was rainy a little bit earlier, but the tarps are out on the field, keeping the dirt dry, and it's an absolutely beautiful Saturday night for baseball.
What's a better night than opening day than this weather? We got the Harbor Hawks in their white uniforms with orange lettering across their chest and blue socks, some with the stirrups, some with the long pants, and the Firebirds in their classic away uniforms, the black with the red, the white writing with a red trim around it. Coach Kelly Nicholson sporting that 2-1 on his back once more as they finish their meeting at home plate with the 3 umpires today, who are Ryan DeMare, Mike Hinojosa, and Chris Kane. But these Firebirds are all ready to go. They've had a few days of practice together. They've gotten to know each other. I know they went out to dinner the other day, and Fenway Day was pretty good for their camaraderie as well.
Well, Fenway Day was good for our camaraderie as well as a media team because it just tested us, right? Because Orleans, every year, there's the tradition of them playing in the scout game against the New York Yankees scout team. And unfortunately, it did not happen. So it is what it is, and sometimes rain happens in the sport of baseball, and the game can't be played. But it was still an awesome day, a ballpark you and I, as big baseball fans, have never been to. So, America's most beloved ballpark, that's what they call it. And it was really an awesome trip for the guys and for the media team as well.
The Harbor Hawks have taken the field. We're going to go over their defense, but I want to start with their starting pitcher. It's an interesting dynamic, Ian. You have a lot of guys from top Power 5 D1 schools. Mitch Ferris, the starting pitcher for the Hyannis Harbor Hawks, is not that. From D2, from Wingate University in North Carolina, the big lefty, tall and a little bit skinny on the skinnier side, but don't let him fool you. His numbers were quite gaudy this year over at Wingate.
Yeah, we were talking with one of Hyannis' broadcasters before today really got going, and that's the big question, right? Anytime you look at numbers, they don't lie. Numbers don't lie, but Wingate competition against Cape Cod Baseball League competition, that's a massive leap. So let's see if he's ready for this moment. The opening day starter, Coach Beatty certainly has a lot of trust in him.
And how could you not? He had 13 games on the season over at Wingate, an 11-1 record, and Trust me, I am reading these. These are correct stats. They might seem like video game numbers, but they're not. In 89 innings pitched, 127 strikeouts, only allowed 3 home runs, 1.21 ERA, and my favorite stat, 16 walks, 12 earned runs given up.
And that's exactly what Kelly Nicholson has built his pitching staff around, and what Hyannis has today. Somebody who is going to be in control at all times. His stuff, who cares when you're not letting guys on base easy with the free passes.
Leading off for the Firebirds today is left-handed hitter out of USC, Austin Overn. A real athlete, got some great speed on him, and starts in the left-handed batter's box. First pitch of the 2023 season is down and away for a ball from Mitch Ferris. Over and up 1-0 in the count.
Overn 14 triples at USC this year, most in the nation.
Ferris comes set, lifts the leg, and deals the 1-0 over and skies it to center. Under it is Lipsy as he takes a few steps to his left and makes the catch. 1 out on the inning.
Trey Lipsy in center field, joined by Ben Williamson in left, and over and right, Justin Casella. Second
batter for the Firebirds is Cam Jones, a returner to Orleans, and he's got a lot of speed, and he had a great year over at Georgia State.
He did. 3-time All-Sun Belt. This guy is just super productive.
The righty with his hands right near his shoulder. Ferris's first delivery is a strike on the high and outside corner.
And Jones just joined the team. He flew in straight to Fenway yesterday, but obviously he knows Orleans well.
Must know the Logan Airport well as well. The third baseman backs up. Second offering is outside with the off-speed to Jones. Smith took a few steps back, first expecting the bunt. The 1-1 offering, a big curveball in there for a strike. Locked Jones up.
Jones, a career .340 hitter, and last year with this Firebirds team, he hit, you guessed it, .340.
Consistency, 1-2 from Ferris, a swing and a miss. Jones decided too late to go, a little bit late on the off-speed pitch as it crawled over the outside corner. First strikeout on the day for Mitch Ferris.
What were we talking about? Can Ferris make it translate to this level of play? Fly out and a strikeout? And efficiently, he's getting it done.
Here's a name to watch, Ian, and that's the lefty, Aiden Longwell. Going with the high socks today, pulled up to his knees in red. First pitch from Ferris, a swing and a dribbler right in front of the mound. Ferris quick to pick it up, turns, throws in the dirt. What a scoop! And the out is recorded.
And Aiden Longwell is down. Sorry to cut you off, Dylan, but he got tripped up with Lane over there at first base.
You don't want to see something like that, especially in the first inning. Lane almost had to step into the foul territory to keep his foot on the bag and also make the scoop. Firebirds go down 1-2-3 in the top of the first. And we're going to head to a break. We'll be back with an update on Longwell and also the bottom of the first inning here on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network. Right back here on the Orleans Radio Network, here at McKeon Park in Hyannis, Firebirds and Harborhawks in Game 1. After Ferris got off the mound quickly, made the throw over to first, and Lane, the first baseman for the Harborhawks, had to get into foul territory, a little bit of a collision with Longwell, and as of now, and for the rest of the game, he is out.
That's super unfortunate. A wonky play and really well covered by Ferris coming off the bag, making the play in time, a one-hopper over to Lane. And it didn't seem like Aiden Longwell, the Kent State star, tripped over necessarily Lane, but tripped over the bag trying to beat out the infield hit. So super unfortunate because Longwell, a guy who's had 3 spectacular seasons at Kent State and is expected to go anywhere from the 3rd to 5th round in next month's Major League Draft. So obviously that's the one thing you never want to see in summer ball is an injury, and we hope he's all right long term.
You got it, Ian. Now let's move on to the bottom of the first. Starting pitcher for the Orleans Firebirds today is Daniel Avidia out of Grand Canyon University in Phoenix. Don't be shocked if I were to tell you that GCU is actually 3 hours away from the National Monument. It is in Phoenix, where Sammy and I go to school. The big righty's on the mound and ready for the first pitch, which is a fastball in there for a strike to Brad Keylaurie. The 0-1, the slider, down and away, evens up the count.
Behind the dish is Owen Carpellotti. Infield made up of, well, now Jake Hyde at first, Urso, Penny, and Olmstead.
That was from first to third. The 1-1 is high, now 2-1.
And the outfield made up of Jake Casey, Austin Overn, and Fenwick Trimble.
The 2-1 to Laurie. Ground ball to third. It gets past Olmstead. A bit of a hard hit grounder that got past him. That'll probably go down as a hit, and it does. So a leadoff single for Brad Keylaurie gets the Harborhawks their first runner of the day.
Well, that's exactly how you start a game off if you're for Harborhawks. Just lace one down the left field line, and Olmstead was in the right spot on the ground, but that one just hit so hard it flashed through the leather and leaked into the outfield.
Trey Lipsy, the second batter for the Harborhawks, playing center field today. Taking the lead is Laurie. He stays, bunt squared, but fouled by Lipsy. Gives Avidia the advantage in the count.
And that was not ruled an E5 on Olmstead. That was just a hard-hit ground ball through the gap, and that's going to be a base hit for Brad Keylaurie to get this thing going. First hit of the year for either team.
Hyde holds on Laurie at first as he takes a 2.5 step lead. Avidia set at the belt. Here's the 0-1 to Lipsy. Ground ball to first, but foul as it goes past Hyde and down toward the Orleans bullpens. The bullpens are on each left field line and right field line here at McKeon Park. Trees surrounding past the fence, so a home run ball will not be easy to find. One pickoff by Avidia is all for show as Laurie gets back in time.
Lipsy, the Ohio State product, played in the Northwoods League last year for Kalamazoo, hit .340 with nearly a .500 on-base percentage.
Pitch from Avidia is high, runs the count to 1-2. Couldn't get the chase from Lipsy. Bring back a little bit of history. I know this is the 100th year, Ian, but the Harborhawks used to be called the Hyannis Mets, and I can't seem to think that these uniforms don't look exactly like the Mets. The 1-2 from Avidia, swing and a miss. The high fastball tipped into the glove of Carpellotti gives Avidia his first strikeout of the day.
Let's just hope for the Hyannis Harborhawks fans' sake that their team, formerly called the Mets, don't go into a tailspin like the Major League Mets have recently.
That was
tough times for them.
7-game losing streak for those New York Mets as they play the Pirates again tonight. Avidia, still the runner on first is Laurie. Third batter is Cameron Smith, a big right-handed bat. First pitch in there for a strike with the fastball.
The Florida State product, Cam's going to be teammates with a couple of Orleans Firebirds and Drew Farreau and also Cam Leiter, who are transferring from UCF.
0-1 to Smith, a swing and a miss. Great changeup from Avidia. He just pulled the string, and Smith swung right over it. 1
on, 1 out, and Avidia, after giving up that single to Laurie, has been dialed in.
Getting ahead in the count. 0-2 to Smith. Runner on first is Laurie with 1 out. That being the strikeout of Lipsy. He's going to check over again on Laurie. Hyde had to stretch to get
well, like we saw at the top of the inning, but Jake Hyde.
Time. They're going to call a double play. It's going to be batter's interference as Smith swung and a miss, and Carpellotti tried to throw to second, but Smith was in his way. Double play to end the inning. Wipes off the runner, so that'll do it for a video. 1-2-3 first inning with 1 hit in Laurie to reach. We're at the end of 1, still scoreless here in Hyannis.
Welcome back. We are at the top of the second, still scoreless, and I have an injury update for everyone after first baseman Aiden Longwell's fall. He is not putting a lot of weight on his left ankle and is currently elevating and icing in the dugout. I will keep you guys updated if I hear anything else for Longwell.
Thank you, Sammy. Right back here on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network. Top two, still scoreless, between the Firebirds and the Harbor Hawks. Fenwick Trimble, the righty out of James Madison, into the batter's box for Orleans. First pitch from Ferris in the second, a fastball right past Trimble. And Ian, from freshman year to sophomore year, Trimble might have had the biggest upgrade, you could say, out of anyone, maybe in D1.
Well, I know you like him, but let's not get too ahead of ourselves, but he's certainly improved.
Curveball, called strike on Trimble, quickly down 0-2.
Went from a guy hitting under 280 to over 340 as a sophomore this past spring with just under an 1,100 OPS. 13 bombs compared to just 7.
Ground ball up the middle, base hit for Trimble. Gives the Firebirds their first hit on the year. He took the off-speed pitch, the 0-2 pitch from Ferris, right back up the middle and gets on base.
You don't get a batting average north of 340 if you're not also hitting for average and hitting for power. But speaking of a guy who hits for power, Owen Carpolati coming up to the plate.
The lefty catcher out of Georgetown. A tough matchup for him with Ferris being a lefty as well. Takes a look as Trimble, first offering a fastball for a strike on the outside corner.
We had the chance to interview Owen a couple months ago in our preseason interviews, and man, this is a guy that Firebirds fans are going to love.
0-1, swing and a miss by Carpolati. He was under it. Now down 0-2 in the count. Trimble at first. No outs so far in the inning as Ferris sets at the belt. Here's the 0-2, another fastball that Carpolati spoils right above the Hyannis dugout on the third base side and bounces off the top.
Carpolati just finishing up his sophomore season at Georgetown where he hit slightly under 290, 16 home runs, 44 RBIs, and all Big East second-team selection.
Beast is not a word that you can't use with him either. Big curveball from Ferris gets the backwards K on Carpolati. He knew it as well as he goes down with Ferris' second K of the day.
Yeah, he just gave a little nod to the umpire. Don't know if that was a passive-aggressive nod or if he just completely agreed that was a good strike call. I would probably go with the former, but nevertheless, Ferris continues to deal, whether it's off-speed or the fastball.
Jake Casey, we know the name, we know the last name, into the left-handed batter's box. Ferris checks over at Trimble at first. One out, top second, still scoreless here in Hyannis. Trimble takes his lead. He's going to go. Pitch in the dirt. The throw to second's a good one, but Trimble beats it. Great speed from Fenwick. Gets a runner in scoring position for the Firebirds.
He had 9 stolen bases across 56 games in his sophomore season, and Trimble continues to prove that he really has the ability to do everything offensively, and that's why he's batting cleanup.
So Casey, a single away from driving in a run. Trimble at second. One out here in the top of the second of a scoreless game. Here's the pitch. In there for a strike. As the first pitch to Casey was a ball. Now 1-1 the count.
Well, Dylan mentioned, you know the Casey name. It's because Jake's father, Sean, a Reds Hall of Famer and a 3-time All-Star in the major leagues.
Trimble off second. No one holding him on. The 1-1 to Casey. Waits on it. It's called a strike. Ferris looking to get out of his first sign of trouble here in the top of the second frame. Trimble with a short lead off second. The 1-2 to Casey. Just high, and he doesn't chase.
You know, Sean, when reflecting on what Jake looks like compared to him, he's got the lefty swing, and apparently he's got more pop in his bat than his pops did at this age. So if you want to drive in a run, Jake's not a bad guy to turn to.
And some shorter dimensions as well. Here's the 1-2, big curveball. Didn't get the call as it left the outside corner. 3-2 the count.
It's a good pitch. Similar pitch to the one that got Carpolati looking.
So full count to Casey. Here it comes. Fastball. He spoils it. Third base side. Back goes the catcher looking for it. and making the catch. Dene with a great catch. He almost overran it, but Casey is retired after a battle with Ferris.
That's what scouts want to see. Obviously, there's plenty of them here on the Cape Week's opening day. When you do face adversity, when your back's against the wall, when Fenwick Trimble finds himself in scoring position and you've got a long at bat with the next man up, how do you respond? And Ferris, a small school kid, comes up big there.
Johnny Olmstead, the next hitter for the Firebirds. 2 outs, top second of a scoreless game. Trimble on second. Watched closely by Lowry. First offering to Olmstead is framed for a strike by Dene.
Olmstead, a senior at USC, coming off a great year in which he was Pac-12 honorable mention for the Trojans.
Beat up our Sun Devils, I know that. 0-1 to Olmstead, a few looks at second, then swings through a fastball. So Ferris 1 strike away from getting out of a runner on second with 1 out jam. He sets at the belt. The 0-2 to Olmstead. Checked his swing. Did he go? He did not. Thought about the curveball in the dirt, but thought better of it just in time.
Not getting out of the inning just yet. And Olmstead, a guy who is a lifetime 260 hitter, can certainly make something happen here.
Count reads 1-2. 2 outs, top second. No numbers on the board yet in the scoreboard. Here's the pitch. Outside with the changeup. Olmstead leaves it. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs, and a runner on second in Trimble. He got on with a leadoff single right back up the middle and then stole second. Here's the 2-2, fouled back by Olmstead on the high fastball, and the, of course, wonderfully cute ball boys after it.
You know, Olmstead, he's had a pretty wonderful summer ball career. Now he finds himself on the Cape. Last summer, he was in the Alaska Baseball League. What a change of pace for the California kid.
Change of pace and probably a lot of flights.
Oh, my gosh.
They'll do the 2-2 again with Trimble on second. Here it comes. Olmstead fouled at third base side early on the off-speed.
Although the Firebirds might not walk out of this inning with a run, a couple of really good at-bats from both Jake Casey and now Johnny Olmstead in the middle of this order. That's what you want to see if you're Kelly Nicholson.
Casey got to 3-2. Olmstead now at 2-2 and fouling a few off. We'll do the 2-2 again. Strike 3, swinging. Ball in the dirt. He gets him with the off-speed. That's Ferris's 3rd K in the first 2 innings. We're here in the middle of the second. Ian Nicholas, Dylan Pescator here on the Orleans Firebirds radio broadcast. Right back here on the Orleans Firebirds radio network, here in the bottom of the second. Daniel Vidia taking the bump once again. A leadoff single and then a stolen base by Fenwick Trimble. Goes for naught as Jake Casey fouled out behind the plate. And then a strikeout of Olmstead by Mitch Ferris, who looks great so far. Alex Lane, the 4-hitter from Northeastern. The first opposition in the second. Goes to second. What a play! J.D. Urso on the backhand makes the play and gets the first out on the first pitch.
The only Firebird fan who's not rooting for that one is our writer, Brendan Nordstrom, as his fellow Husky goes down, but not because it wasn't a well-hit ball, but just a really great play defensively from J.D. Urso. But, he was in the right place at the right time.
Brody Donay swings through the changeup as it just whiffed through the zone. Urso, right place, right time, and good reaction time.
Yeah, cool story. Urso goes to Tampa. And his father.
Second pitch swung through by Donay.
His father, the head coach of a D2 school, Joe, every single coach on Hyannis' staff, including Coach Beatty, all Tampa alums.
All coached under his father as well. 0-2 is fouled back by Donay as he catches up to the fastball just barely.
And Urso, he talked to Sammy Miller before the game. He said, we need this. We need this win because we need bragging rights down in Tampa. And you always love when this guy has motivation in summer ball.
Definitely one of the better personalities on this Firebirds team. 0-2 fastball runs high, left by Donay. Now 1-2 with one out. Bottom second of a scoreless game here in Hyannis. Video working quickly. The 1-2. Carpellotti tried to frame it, but just low, and the count runs even. 2-2. Carpellotti misses it. And it go to the backstop. A ball either way. So the count run full by Donay after being down 0-2 to start it.
Donay might be a catcher, but an all-ACC freshman team selection with the Hokies, he can hit.
The full count delivery. Swing and a miss. A changeup that dove right into the dirt by Avidia. Gets him his third strikeout on the day.
That's the cool thing about summer ball, right? You got one of the best young kids in a massive conference in the ACC. And then you got Avidia, who comes from Grand Canyon, who I know you know the school well because it's in your neck of the woods, but it's just so sweet.
Eric Snow from USF, a school that more people know of. Playing shortstop tonight and hitting for the Harbor Hawks. Now up 2-0 in the count against Avidia. 2 outs, bottom second. Bases cleared. The 2-0 hits Snow. He'll take first on a hit by pitch, as Hyannis has their second base runner of the day.
And Ben Williamson's now going to come up to the plate here. Someone who might be hitting seventh for Hyannis, but he can certainly make an impact out of William and Mary.
391 batting average this year. He was getting on base almost half the time. First pitch is a fastball for a strike from Avidia. At first is Snow. 2 outs. And Avidia's going to check over. Now he comes set. The 0-1. Williamson thought about it. The umpire called the strike.
And Williamson, he just wasn't the best player on William and Mary. He was the best player in the entirety of the CAA. He's going to put this league on notice.
Avidia, 0-2. Williamson fouls back the high fastball. Bounces right in front of us on the backstop. We sit here about, 10, 15 feet from home plate on the first base side. 0-2, still the count. Avidia checks on Snow, who dives back safely.
A beautiful vantage point for a beautiful day. 63 degrees. The sun is shining. Awesome way to start this centennial season.
Here's the 0-2 again. Williamson to short. The play to second. Urso makes the catch, and that'll do it as they get the force out. Penny to Urso in the books. At the end of 2, still scoreless, each team with a hit. Hyannis with 2 base runners as we go to the top of the third right here on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network. 2023, no score here in McKeon Park in Hyannis. Ian Nicholas and yours truly, Dylan Pescator, right here on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network. And Ian, Mitch Ferris has looked really good through 2, but you have an extra stat to really emphasize it.
Yeah, the first of many fun facts on the year. Any at-bat for Mitch Ferris tonight that's lasted longer than 2 pitches, the Wingate product has gotten ahead 0-2. And that's a big reason why through 6 outs, he's struck out 3 and allowed just 1 hit, no runs. Ferris, the Wingate Bulldogs in North Carolina, a D2 powerhouse, and he's looking like a powerhouse on the mound right now.
The lefty pitcher comes set at the belt. First hitter for the Firebirds here in the top of the 3rd is Jack Penny from Notre Dame. Fouls back the first offering. And there's another one. Another strike from Ferris, getting ahead in counts.
Penny, a Massachusetts native from Wakefield, 20 minutes outside Boston, playing in state.
The 0-1 high and outside. He's a lefty bat. Keeps everything very compact as he leads off the inning for Orleans. The 1-1, the big curveball from Ferris misses high.
Penny, after a strong freshman season with Notre Dame, bit of a sophomore slump, but still productive. Hitting .240 with 10 home runs and 27 ribbies.
2-1, runs high, now 3-1. So, and jinx, but maybe for the better, as this one went, past 2 pitches. Didn't go down 0-2 as the Firebirds batter. Maybe a crack in the armor of Ferris. Here's the 3-1 offering. Curveball low, and Penny drew himself a leadoff walk.
Even though Penny hit just .240 this season for Notre Dame, an 800 OPS. And again, as a freshman last spring, only a .290 batting average, but an OPS just under 1,000. The guy knows how to get on base. A professional hitter, some would say, even at such a young age at Notre Dame.
J.D. Urso rounds up the order for the Firebirds. As first pitch driven into left, and that'll get down for a hit. Urso takes the first pitch fastball into left for a single, and the Firebirds have their first 2 batters of the inning on base.
That's really great to see. Not only is Urso an exciting personality and a great player at the Division II level, but a returning Firebird who struggled from the plate last year with the Birds. He only hit .190 with an OPS south of 500, but maybe this is going to be a different kind of summer for Urso.
So Penny on second, Urso at first. Still no outs on the inning here in the top of the 3rd of a 0-0 ball game.
Over now up. He flew out to center to start this game.
Over and squares around the bunt, gets it up, and it will be caught easily by Ferris. Not what you want if you're the Firebirds, and Ian, we saw it all week in practice.
We really have.
It's been bunting practice, and what did Coach Kelly Nicholson say about bunting?
Coach Kelly Nicholson said when you're bunting, you got to act like someone you love is at stake there. I mean, it's like life or death, and you got to love that because at the end of the day, this league's about getting better, and it's about teaching the fundamentals, and Kelly Nicholson is harping on the fundamentals, and he probably won't let Austin over and forget about that one.
Cam Jones steps in the box. 1 out. Now he tries to square the bunt. It runs high for a ball. Penny at second. At first is Urso. Penny walked, and Urso singled to left. 1 out on the inning after Overend's bunt fly out.
And what's been a pitcher's duel so far, this is the best scoring opportunity either team has had all night.
The second time the Firebirds have had someone in scoring position. Jones just a little bit early on that one, fouls it away.
Yeah, last inning, Fenwick Trimble reached on a single and then stole second. But long at bats from Jake Casey and Johnny Olmstead turned into nothing.
1-1, 1 out. And Jones in the box. Ferris checks second. Now he'll deal to home. Fastball outside right off the corner. Now 2-1 on Jones, who gets the sign from the third base coach for the Firebirds.
Jones drove in 8 runs in 31 games last summer with Orleans, looking for his first of 23.
Here comes the 2-1. Jones swings at a miss. That curveball just falls off the table from Ferris.
Yeah, that's a big league pitch, even for a D2 guy. A lot of movement. He's thrown the big curve that's slanted in the upper third and also one that lands below the zone, so a lot of movement on it as well.
So count even at twos. 2 runners on for the Firebirds with 1 out here in the top of the third. He swings and misses at the curveball. It gets away from the catcher, Dene, and the runners are going to move up. Still a strikeout to Jones, so that's out number 2 on the inning, and strikeout number 4 on the night for Ferris. But now 2 runners in scoring position for the Firebirds, and up comes Jake Hyde. Big position for a guy who just came in.
Yes, Aiden Longwell unfortunately got injured at the end of the top of the first, and because of that, Jake Hyde has had to step in at first and now takes his first at bat as a Firebird in a massive spot.
Didn't think he was going to start today, maybe not even play today. And now he's got to face Mitch Ferris. 2 runners in scoring position with 2 outs. First pitch of the curveball, down and away for a ball.
And Hyde, he's a guy who knows how to hit. 350 batting average as a sophomore at Georgetown. 320 this past spring. Number 30 knows how to get guys home.
Here's the 1-0, fastball low. And another thing, Ian, that Done has to keep track of is that big curveball can get away at times.
It can, just got away from his catcher. And Done, that just cost him big. Don't need a bunt when there's a defensive error behind the dish.
Hyde up 2-0 in the count. Here it comes. Fastball in there for a strike.
Needed it.
Let's see, as you said, Ferris needed that strike. So Penny at third, Urso at second. Top 3 still scoreless here in Hyannis between the Firebirds and the Harbor Hawks. 2-1 to Hyde. Big swing at the curveball. He tips it into the glove of Done. Now 2-2, 2 outs. Firebirds looking for their first run of 2023. Here it comes. Hyde lays off the big curveball, runs the count full. A walk would not be the worst thing for Ferris with first base open.
Well, I know your favorite, Fenwick Trimble, is in the hole, but Hyde led the Big East in RBIs. He knows how to get it done when the pressure is up.
Full count with 2 outs. Here's the pitch. Hyde grounds it up the middle. Diving play. The throw to first. Not in time. 1 run in. Here comes Urso for the second. And the Firebirds take a 2-0 lead as Jack Hyde puts it in play and earns himself 2 RBIs.
Jake Hyde, a temporary player, but playing like a guy who should hopefully be here all summer long. An unbelievable play, a little bit of luck, good defensive effort, but ultimately just a little bit too much to ask for out of Lowry to make that play. And ultimately, Orleans gets a little lucky and gets both runners home.
Here's Trimble. Takes a first pitch curveball down in the dirt for a ball. So Hyde, who, as we said earlier, was not in the starting lineup, not supposed to play, but the injury to Longwell in the top of the first, he got substituted into the game and comes up big here on the top of the third. Trimble swings and misses out a high fastball, now 1-1.
Trimble reached on a single in his first at bat and still second. Batting cleanup, a great start to his summer ball.
So Hyde with the first 2 RBIs of the Firebird season. Trimble swings and misses as he fouled it into the glove of Done. Now 1-2 on the JMU product.
Now, how does Ferris respond? Because he's pitched well. That was a really, really good battle against Hyde. He got a bit unlucky, but how do you respond and end this inning?
1-2. He checks on Hyde. Now to the plate, and Trimble fouls it back. I mean, you got to say, we talked about how deep the Firebirds lineup is, but to start off the inning with the 8 and 9 hitters, and they came up as big as anybody.
And that's the beauty of constructing your lineup, right, is just getting guys who can get it done 1 through 9, and that's just an added bonus.
1-2. Trimble takes a curveball for strike 3. Ferris up to 5 strikeouts, but not before the Firebirds score 2 on a Jake Hyde single to second. Urso came to score, Penny came to score, and at the middle of the third, 2-0 Orleans is your score here on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network. As we get set here for the bottom of the third, Firebirds lead 2-0 here at McKeon Park in Hyannis in Game 1 of 2023. My partner Ian, first time, but it's going to happen a lot of times. Give us our around the league scores.
Of course, in an ode to Sussman and Waldman, in a rematch of last year's championship series, Bourne Braves, Brewster Whitecaps knotted up at 2 in the top of the 5th. Meanwhile, Chatham and Katuitt not playing due to rain, postponed. That was supposed to be a 5 o'clock start from Lowell Park. Meanwhile, the third, and in the bottom of the first from Arnie, Allen, Diamond, the Wareham Gatemen lead the Falmouth Commodores 1-0.
A few Cronkite broadcasters on that game, Aiden Blank and Matt Venezia.
And Syracuse broadcasters all around the league if we're going to start tooting the horn of our communication program.
Maybe just a little. Andrew Sundin, the 8-hitter for the Harbor Hawks, steps in the box. First pitch from Avidia is high and outside for a ball.
Been really impressed with what Avidia has been able to do. For a kid who comes from a smaller school to be the opening day starter for Orleans, he's dealing.
Second pitch in there for a strike, evens the count. Sundin, the DH, tonight out of UCF. And the 1-1, a slider outside. 2-0 Firebirds here in the bottom of the third. Sundin, the first batter of the inning, but it was Jake Hyde with the 2 RBI single in the top of the frame. As Sundin fouls this one first base side out of play. 2-2. You never know what's going to happen in baseball, but you never know what's going to happen on opening day. And if I told you that Jake Hyde was going to drive in the first runs of the game, what would you tell me, Ian?
I tell you, I'm not rooting for a Darien, Connecticut native to drive in a couple runs, but he did it.
Sundin, a second. Urso with a nice play. The throw to first is in time. J.D. Urso with another nice play as he moved to his left, caught it with the glove, and transferred it to the hand for the throw.
And that's just a joke because Dylan and I are from the rival town of Darien, New Canaan, down in Connecticut. But to answer your question, Dylan, I would just say that I'm not surprised because he's got great numbers at Georgetown. As a swing and a miss there, 0-1 the count. I would just say that Aiden Longwell is unbelievable too. So why was he being pulled from the game? It's a shame he got injured.
Swing and a miss by Casella, now down quickly 0-2. Ovidia steps and deals outside for a ball. A great play by Urso. He singled back in the top of the third, moved up on the Cam Jones drop third strike, which he couldn't advance on because the runner at first was Urso. Here's the 2-2 from Ovidia. Swing and a miss. The changeup, once again from Ovidia, gets him his 4th strikeout of the game.
Man, there's no pitch clock here from Hyannis, but Ovidia just works so quickly. It almost like it feels like he thinks there's a pitch clock on. And for somebody who wants the game to speed up, Ovidia is your guy.
Hyannis turns around the order, and a first pitch strike is dealt to Brad Key Lowry. Ian, he's going to have to learn to pitch with the pitch clock as he is because the Firebirds have one this year.
They do. One of 4 teams in the league to have a pitch clock, almost testing it out to see if this should be happening in summer ball full time.
1-1 to Lowry. The slider down and in the dirt. Carpellotti blocks it up. Now 2-1 to the leadoff hitter of the Harbor Hawks.
Lowry, who plays at Wabash Valley Community College, transferring to Tennessee.
Fouls this one almost into the Hyannis dugout. Watch out. I know the Firebirds are going to eventually, at some time this season, get another player who used to go to Wabash Valley.
Yes, Brian Calmer, a star at Gonzaga, who will be here probably at the start of next week.
2-2, 2 outs, bases empty. A foul ball, first base side, chasing over his Hyde. Does he have room? He does not. So the count 6 at 2-2. Hyde now at first. We talked about the Longwell injury. Hopefully Sammy can give us a positive update.
We'll see. She said earlier you couldn't put much pressure on that lower body after that stumble at first.
We'll do the 2-2 again. Fastball, Carpellotti's glove. Couldn't corral it. Count runs full as the breeze starts to pick up just a little bit here in Hyannis.
Casella from North Jersey, but playing his college ball at Elon in North Carolina.
Outside for a ball. Lowry takes first. So the first walk of the day for Avidia, third base runner for the Harbor Hawks. Bottom three, 2-0 Orleans. Jack Hyde, I should say, with the first RBI single, RBI hit of all here in 2023 for Orleans. First pitch swing into right field for a base hit. Trey Lipsy jumps on Avidia and takes the fastball into right, fielded by Trimble and thrown in quickly. Did not allow Lowry to advance to third. So first and second for the Harbor Hawks as they start a rally in the bottom of the third, and Cameron Smith, the big three-hitter, coming up.
That's just a really great piece of hitting from Lipsy and a really nice way to respond for this Hyannis offense that now has 2 hits on the day, but no runs to show for it. Meanwhile, Orleans, thanks to that infield single from Hyde, has 2 runs on the board off the same amount of hits.
So a walk to Lowry, a hit by Trey Lipsy. Here's Cam Smith. First pitch is fouled right behind home and into the stands. Good catch.
You never know how much that ball is going to be worth. So many great players out here today, and what's the slogan? The stars of tomorrow shine tonight. That could be worth a pretty penny.
Especially with how Cam Smith is playing over at Florida State. Here's the 0-1. He thought about it, didn't go, and no call by the umpire. Evens up the count at 1.
Hit 260 on the year with 8 doubles, 12 homers, and was on the All-ACC freshman team.
Just a freshman. Wow. The 1-1 with 2 outs is high.
In fact, he became the first FSU player this year since Buster Posey in 2008 with back-to-back multiple home run games. So watch out, outfield.
All outfielders playing back. Casey in left, Overn in center, and Trimble in right. The pitch from Avidia got the outside corner for a strike.
That's untouchable. Really good pitch to even the count.
2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs with 2 base runners on for the Harbor Hawks. On second is Lowry, on first is Lipsy. See if Avidia can get out of it. He sets and deals. Foul ball, first base side out of play. As Smith stays alive.
Good pitch on the lower third.
And he's a tall one. 6'3" is what he's listed at. A lot of power in that bat.
Wouldn't want to mess with him, but Avidia does.
Let's do it again. 2-2, 2 outs. Here's the pitch. Checks his swing. Called strike 3 either way. Avidia gets out of the jam here in the bottom of the third and keeps Hyannis off the board. 2-0 Firebirds at the end of 3 as Avidia escapes the jam. And we go to the 4th here on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network.
Welcome back to the Birds Broadcast Network. I'm Sammy Miller, and the Firebirds are currently up 2-0 to start the 4th. And let me tell you, the energy is high right now in the Firebirds dugout. Kelly Nicholson looked at his team at the bottom of the 3rd and said, good things happen when you make smart plays. These players have had only at most 3 days of playing with each other, yet the chemistry already looks strong in both the outfield and the infield, which could definitely be attributed to the culture Kelly Nicholson creates year in and year out in Orleans.
Back here in the top of the 4th. Thank you, Sammy. The chemistry strong as Owen Carpalotti First pitch swinging on a strike from Ferris. Lefty-lefty matchup. Carpellotti now down 0-2 in the count after Ferris runs a fastball by him.
Carpellotti went down looking to a breaking ball during his first at-bat in the first.
Here's the 0-2, goes down swinging this time. Leading off the fourth, Ferris brings the heat with the fastball at 86. And gets the strikeout of Carpellotti. Jake Casey now up to bat for Orleans. Casey fouled out behind the plate last time out. First pitch from Ferris is a curveball in the dirt for a ball. You see the fastball at 86. The curveball sits at 74. A huge velocity drop. That one's the fastball in there for a strike. 1-1 on Casey.
He's not going to beat you with the velo. He's going to beat you with the pitch placement and, as you mentioned, that velocity drop.
1-1, curveball. Casey checked his swing. He did not go. Rules the third base umpire.
Casey coming off a strong sophomore season at Kent State where he hit .250 with over a 900 OPS in 12 bombs.
2-1, curveball in there for a strike.
A Midwest guy, obviously his dad played in Pittsburgh. They grew up in Pittsburgh, and he plays his college ball in Ohio.
2-2, Casey gets the curveball, but waits on it. It's home plate, runs the count full.
Another good at-bat from Casey to go from behind in the count to in front, but it was not able to get on base for the last go-around, trying to change that here in at-bat number 2 of the year.
2-0 Firebirds, top 4 here in Hyannis. Full count pitch. Casey waits on it. It's a ball, and he reaches first on the walk.
Again, that's another solid pitch. I mean, right there on the lower third of the zone. That could be called either way. In Casey, it breaks his way that go-around. But Ferris is continuing the deal. But regardless, we're going to see our first mound visit of the day for either team. And the question is Ferris's night over? As there is an arm getting warm in the bullpen, and it is.
So that'll do it for Ferris. We know to start the season and throughout the season there's going to be pitch limits on these pitchers. We asked pitching coach Lawler before the game. He said Avidia can go about 60. He also said that you haven't seen the guy thrown before. That's what's going on around the league. Hyannis is going to go to the bullpen, and we're going to go to a break. We'll be right back here on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network. 2-0 Orleans here on the top of the fourth with a runner on and one out. Right back here, top 4 on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network. Dylan Pescatorni and Nicholas got you for Game 1, Game 2, all the way to Game 44, and maybe some postseason play as well. Hyannis goes to the bullpen, and the new pitcher is a righty out of Warian.
St. Cloud State in Minnesota. He's a Minnesota native. Ethan Lanthier, the big 6'5" sophomore, has never played summer ball before. That's right. Welcome to summer ball. Ethan Lanthier, only playing in the best league in the country. He did have a 4.84 ERA through 35 1/3 at Division II level last year, but looking to get back to what he did as a freshman at St. Cloud State, where he had a 2.4 ERA across just under 20 innings. A lot of potential, great size in the first bullpen option for manager Beatty in this Hyannis option of the 2023 season.
So Ferris leaves going 3 1/3, and the runner on first, Casey, is his responsibility. One out on the inning, top 4, 2-0 Firebirds. Up to bat, Johnny Olmstead from USC. First pitch, fastball for a strike. Olmstead last time out, struck out swinging to Ferris. Now gets to face the righty in Lanthier. The 0-1 pitch is popped up out of play over our heads and onto the field behind McKeon Park. Casey at first. He's got a little bit of speed. Can take a bag when needed. We'll see what the Orleans coaching staff wants to do.
13 stolen bases in his sophomore season with the Golden Flashes.
0-2 count to Olmstead with 1 out. Here it comes. Runner going. Pitch called the ball. Throw to second is in time for the out. Dene goes to Lowry. And caught stealing is the call. Casey the second out of the inning. And the count runs 1-2 on Olmstead.
Dene needed that one from behind the dish earlier in the game. Lost the ball in the dirt, which led to 2 Orleans runners moving up. They'd eventually score, but shows he has the ability to throw them out.
Olmstead was on that slider, but fouled it right back. Count stays 1-2 with 2 outs. We haven't gotten the official scoring on the Jake Hyde single that we assumed is a single to second base. Back in the top of the third. No hit went on the scoreboard, but no error as well went on the scoreboard. We're going to go with the hit.
As an Orleans broadcast.
Orleans away scoring. Olmstead, the 1-2 fastball right by him. So Lanthier comes out of the pen and gets the job done with some help by Dene on the caught stealing as well. In the middle of the fourth, 2-0 Firebirds as we head to the bottom of the inning here on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network. As we go to the bottom of the fourth here in the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network with Dylan Pescator and Ian Nicholas, 2-0 your score with the Firebirds in front after a Jake Hyde RBI single in the top of the third. Orleans with 2 hits, Hyannis with 2 as well as they come to the plate here in the bottom of the fourth, and Daniel Avidia starts his 4th inning of work.
We'll see how much longer Avidia goes. As you mentioned before the game, pitching coach Jim Lawler said roughly 60 pitches tonight for him, but he's been working fast and efficient.
First pitch to the cleanup hitter for the Harbor Hawks is down and out on the slider by Avidia. Alex Lane hit the ball hard last time up as he takes a fastball for a strike, but right at J.D. Urso's backhand, he made the catch and recorded the first out of the second. The 1-1 is the changeup, and that's been the pitch for Avidia so far today, Ian. It's just diving down.
And he told you before the game, that's my pitch I'm working on. It's a work in progress. It looks like it's a finished product.
1-2 over the head of Olmstead, down the left field line and to the wall. Casey over to get it. Lane's going to try for 2. The throw from Casey is offline. A leadoff double for Alex Lane to start off the bottom of the fourth for Hyannis.
3rd hit of the night for the Harbor Hawks, and the second in the direction of Olmstead on the hot corner. The first one from Lowry, you could argue Olmstead could have made that play, but that was just a ball that dwarfed toward the line and was nearly impossible. Even with him leaping, that ball was just so well hit down the left field line.
Nothing he could do. Dene the batter now for Hyannis, and now has 3 shots at driving in a runner from second to get on the board. Casey got to it quickly, but the throw just offline, but good timing. Navidia deals the 1-0 in for a strike to Dene, who struck out swinging back in the second. Bottom four, Hyannis down 2-0 to the Firebirds. Pitch from Avidia was the changeup again. It was down low and a good block by Carpellotti.
Carpellotti hasn't been his day offensively with a couple strikeouts, but behind the dish, he's been good.
He's been great, and even though Lane, maybe not the biggest speedster, would definitely get to third on a pass ball. Swing and a miss on the 2-1 pitch from Dene. It was a changeup once again. It's been the elite pitch for Avidia. So count sits 2-2. No outs. Runner on second after a double is Lane. Here's the pitch. The changeup again gets him swinging. Avidia with strikeout number 6 on the day. Gets the first out here in the fourth.
Avidia has been one of the best pitchers in the WAC since joining Grand Canyon last summer, but not necessarily a guy who's going to blow it by you with the most elite of stuff. I mean, 83 innings pitched, 81 strikeouts. That's less than a strikeout an inning. Tonight has been a different story.
First pitch is in there for a strike to Eric Snow. He was hit by a pitch last time up. The second base runner for Hyannis back in that second inning. Lane dancing off second. The 0-1, Snow up the middle. Penny bobbles with it, will throw in time. Jack Penny. Maybe didn't have it the first time, but it got to him and made the strong throw to first. Lane moves to third, but 2 outs now for the Firebirds.
Reminds me of a play a couple of nights ago in the Yankee game where the young superstar Anthony Volpe bobbled it, barehanded it, threw it over to first. Look, if you get it done, you get it done. If it's a little messy on the way, so be it.
It is all up to Ben Williamson, who takes a first pitch strike from Avidia. Runner on third is Lane. Carpellotti is going to have that in mind just in case a wild pitch. Avidia working quickly. 0-1 off the end of the bat to short. Penny up with it. He makes an error. It goes through his legs, and into center, it'll be ruled an E6 as the runner comes home in Lane and cuts the lead in half. Avidia made a great pitch. Williamson off the end of the bat, but Penny came up just too quick, and Hyannis gets on the board.
Well, if that isn't the ultimate announcer's jinx, I don't know what is, because that time around, a much easier play to make for Penny, who has been short-handed so far, and he cost his pitcher. And Avidia, you wonder how much longer he's going to be out there after a run comes across the board.
So Williamson at first. No RBI for him as it was an error. First pitch swinging. Back to center. Overen's got room. At the sign, he'll make the catch. So Avidia gets out of it, but not only, but one run comes across for Hyannis. Lane scores on the E6 by Penny. It's 2-1 at the end of 4 here on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network. Back here on the Orleans Firebirds radio network, top 5 we sit. 2-1 Firebirds the score as Jack Penny takes a cut and a miss at the first pitch fastball from Ethan Lanthier, working in his second inning here in the 5th. Looking for some redemption is Penny after an error back in the bottom of the 4th. We can all erase it right now. Down 0-2 in the count after another fastball from the right-hander.
His error had a run come across the board. 14 home runs over 2 years with the Fighting Irish. Could he really wipe it off the board?
0-2, fouls this one, third base side, and onto the warning track, which is gravel here at McKeon Park, but some nice seashells, I should say, tongue twister, here where the bleachers sit.
Oh, it's a beautiful park and a great day.
0-2, change up from Lanthier, outside and low. Penny reached on a walk last time out in the 3rd. Came around to score on the RBI single by Jake Hyde. Fouls this one away. Past everybody, and a few fans move out of the way. Lanthier, he comes over the top. He has good velocity on the fastball. That last one was 94. Now set to fire the 1-2. Penny into left center. Over goes the center fielder Lipsy, caught by Williamson on a knee. Good swing by Penny. Williamson gets there in time for the first out of the inning.
Williamson, he ended the last inning with a strong drive in the center, which died ahead of a wall, and Penny won the left center, caught by Williamson, a couple guys who have a lot of power off the edge of their bat.
J.D. Urso rounds up the order for the Firebirds. Top 5, no one on base. The score 2-1 Orleans with 1 out on the inning. First pitch from Lanthier, off speed in there for a called strike. Urso singled back in the 3rd. Came around to score, as did Penny. And swings and drives this one to left. Back goes Williamson. He dives. And he made the catch. An incredible play by Ben Williamson. Robs Urso of extra bases.
Ben Williamson playing a position he usually doesn't play. An infielder. Looking like a guy who should be a gold glover in the outfield. What doesn't this guy do? He's going to be a gem to watch in Hyannis all summer. And it's a shame we're in the East Division. We can't see him a little bit more.
For Urso's standpoint, I don't think he wants to see him a little bit more.
You're right. I mean, Urso, what a great start to this game. I mean, if you count that as a base hit, which really it should have been. He's 2 for 2 and having a great game, but just an even better defensive play.
So here's Austin Overn, 0 for 2 on the day, both with flyouts, one of the bunt variety and one to center. And now up 1-0 in the count. The hardest hit ball off Lanthier was off the bat of Urso. Williamson had some other ideas and now sits with some dirt on the chest of his jersey. The 1-0, change up high to Overn, who actually got some great news a few days ago, Ian. Getting announced to the USA baseball team.
And for Orleans fans, they hope he's here a little longer, but that's the risk you run in summer ball as he takes his strike up in the zone, is the fact that you have the best players in the country, and for one reason or not, they might not be with you by the end of July, start of August.
A huge accomplishment for him personally, of course. 2-1, 2 outs. Here's a ball. Check that, 3-1. So Overn will take first base on a walk. And Ian, if there was anyone to watch on the bases, Austin Overn is your guy.
Austin Overn, what doesn't he do? Walked onto the USC football team as a wide receiver, competed in track and field in high school, ran 100 meters in under 10.5 seconds. And, of course, as we mentioned earlier, 14 triples on the year. He's got elite speed in between the diamond.
Cam Jones, the man to do it, as he stands in the box and takes a first pitch fastball high. Overn at second, 2 outs. Firebirds lead 2-1 here at McKeon Park in Hyannis. First game of the 2023 season. 1-0, runner going. The throw to second is low. It gets away. Overn's going to stay at second, but a stolen bag for the USC man.
It's almost automatic. Almost automatic. 16 stolen bases on the year for Overn at USC. Just breaking records with his speed. He's more than just that, but that is what makes him a game changer.
2-0 count. Lanthier now has to deal with Jones on a 2-0 pitch. Overn taking a big lead at second. The pitch is high for a ball. Now 3-0 to Jones. First base is open, but with what Jake Hyde did last time out, I don't think Lanthier or the Hawks want to face him again.
Got a little lucky, but still drove in 2 runs, however you score it.
So 3-0 to Jones. He'll take it for a strike as Lanthier went off speed. Overn at second will try to score from anywhere in the outfield, and keep your eye on him in the infield. That's all I can say. 3-1. Jones takes low for a ball, so back-to-back walks for Lanthier. His first 2. And here's Jake Hyde once again in a big spot.
Lanthier, during the entirety of his freshman season at St. Cloud State, with just a 5.2% walk rate, 4 walks in 18 2/3 innings pitched. Obviously, a bit of a decline, as we talked about earlier, as we see a mound visit from the catcher of Hyannis, trying to settle down Lanthier because this is not his typical self. He doesn't hand out free passes early and often. And now, with Hyde, who's given his team a lot of problems tonight with his lone at bat, he definitely wants to settle him down.
A lefty arm warms in the Hyannis bullpen. Dene went and checked on Lanthier. Runner on second is Overn. Runner on first is Jones. 2-1 Orleans, top 5 with 2 outs. Jake Hyde in the left-handed batter's box takes an off-speed pitch outside for a ball. Some good defensive plays by both teams have been highlights of this game. On the offensive side, it's been Hyde with the 2 RBI single in the third, and now is up 2-0 on the count after a high fastball. And now we're going to have a mound visit as a Hyannis coach will come out and talk with Lanthier.
Seems like a call of a bullpen is imminent. With 2 runners on, 2 outs, and now with 2-0 count to Hyde, how much longer can he let the St. Cloud State product work before things could really unravel in such a close ball game?
Very rare to see a pitcher getting takeout mid-count, or mid-at-bat, I should say, but
True.
It could happen. And the lefty's in the pen. Hyde is a lefty if you're playing the matchup game. Maybe they're looking to get him a few more pitches, but as of this moment, it seems like Lanthier is going to stay in the game. All Hyde did last time up was hit the ball hard, and it was a little bit to the right of the second baseman, Lowry. He couldn't come up with it and make a play. So mound visit done for Hyannis. Hyde up 2-0 in the count. On deck is Fenwick Trimble. He singled back in the second.
No coincidence that Hyde hit the ball hard. Over a 600 slugging percentage in each of his last 2 collegiate seasons with the Hoyas.
He knows about barrels. 2-0 is high. Hyde thought about it but pulled back. And now up 3-0. So Lanthier has gotten himself into some trouble. .3-0 to Hyde. Fastball right down the middle. He'll take. Overn at second. Jones at first. Firebirds looking to extend the 2-1 lead. Fastball's in there for a strike. So full count. 2 outs, 2 runners on. Overn and Jones will be running on the pitch. Lanthier deals. The runners are off, and a sky-high pop-up behind second. And caught by the shortstop of Hyannis in Snow. And that'll do it for the 5th. Lanthier works into trouble, works out of trouble as we go to the middle of the 5th. Orleans still leads 2-1 as we go to break here on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network. Back here on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network. Bottom of the fifth, Orleans clinging to a 2-1 lead as we have a new man on the mound coming from the left side.
First bullpen option of the year for Coach Kelly Nicholson, and it's the lefty from Wisconsin, Milwaukee, Riley Fry, a 6'1", 185-pound rising senior by way of Oshkosh, Wisconsin, a 3-time All-Horizon League second-team selection at a 4.9 ERA and 15 starts, 87 Ks, 38 walks, and 90 innings pitched this spring.
Look at that hometown name. As you said, coming from Milwaukee, the final line on Daniel Avidia was a great one. 4 innings, 3 hits, 1 run, not earned, of course, with 6 strikeouts. That changeup was really working for Avidia as Fry deals his first pitch for a ball to the 9-hitter Justin Casella for Hyannis.
Couldn't have gone much better for Avidia. Showed your high-end stuff and showed that you can really show that changeup early and often.
The 1-0 is outside, so first 2 pitches, balls for Fry. He'll deal with the 9-hitter Justin Casella, and then the top of the order for Hyannis. 2-0 right by Casella as he swung through 89.
I mean, how big could that be for Avidia all summer? You're already a great pitcher in the whack with 2 great pitches. If that changeup is there, you're unstoppable.
2-1, another swing and foul tip into the glove of Carpellotti, who had some trouble with it. 2-2 nevertheless. Bases cleared, 0 outs. 2-1 Orleans here, bottom 5. Thank you all for tuning in to our radio broadcast 1:44 this season. 2-2 high and outside. Runs the count full from Fry. 26 on his back is his number. Deals the 3-2 outside, so a leadoff walk for Casella.
Fry.
His first time on board tonight.
Fry, just under 250 innings pitched across 3 years at Wisconsin, Milwaukee, and just under 100 walks handed out. So that is not typical of the rising senior. Usually keeps it very clean.
Go back to the top of the order, and Bradkey Lowry. Casella stands on first pitch ball. Ian, that happened with Lanthier as well, with 2 walks, and he doesn't walk a lot of people as well. I think it's just nerves.
It could be, especially for a guy like Lanthier who has never played summer ball before, but Fry comes from the very, very good Northwoods League.
Second pitch, a runner goes in Casella. Carpellotti had some trouble with it, so a stolen base for the right fielder for Hyannis. Kind of a copy of the 4th inning as they have a leadoff man on second. And now Jim Lawler, the pitching coach, will come out to talk to Fry after the start of this inning has not gone his way.
Casella, a beast on the base paths with 19 stolen bags last summer, which led all of the CAA. And first mound visit for Jim Lawler this season in his second year with Orleans. Just trying to, again, settle down a guy in Fry who has gotten it done time in and time again in the Horizon League and can certainly get it done in the spot.
Lowry has reached both times tonight, a single back in the first and a walk in the third. Now in the 5th, runner on second, Casella, with nobody out. 2-0 the count after the mound visit. Here's the pitch. Lowry squares around the bunt. Called strike. Thinking about going down the first baseline. In came Hyde as he talks with Urso on who's going to cover. Off second is Casella with a big lead. Here's the 2-1. Lowry swings through the fastball. Got it up to 88. So 2 heaters, gets Fry right back in this at-bat. Still nobody out. Orleans up 2-1 here in the bottom of the 5th as Casella dances off second. 2-2. Lowry fouls it back off the netting.
Just got to continue to throw competitive pitches here if you're Fry. Can't afford to walk another guy for your confidence. Just continue to pound the zone and not give him anything too much in the middle third because he can certainly whack it.
Fry will shake off a few times and then nod his head. The 2-2. Lowry fouls at first base side out of play. Another thing you got to think, Ian, is these players have no idea between catcher and pitcher what they like to throw, what situations, etc. They just met 3 days ago.
100%. You know, and Carpellotti said it in the preseason that he likes to catch for guys he knows well. He does not know Riley Fry super well just yet.
The 2-2, Lowry cues it off the end of the bat into the Orleans dugout on the ground. Upcoming will be pitch number 8 from Fry.
But this is what tests you for the next level, because if you do make it to the major leagues, I mean, how many arms does a team burn through in a week, much less a game? You have to be able to work with anybody at all times.
Look at the Tampa Bay Rays. A new arm every single day, it seems like. The 2-2, runners off. Lowry pops it into right. Over goes Hyde and Trimble. Trimble will make the play. The throw to second for the double play. Not in time. Just getting back by inches was Casella as he slid back into second. He was off on the pitch and had to turn around as that ball stood and stayed up in the air for just long enough.
Great communication along the right field line from Orleans. Hyde, Trimble, and also Overn coming over to see who's going to make the play. And ultimately, Trimble was able to wave everybody off and nearly turn a double play.
Here comes the lefty, Lipsy. A single back in the third and a strikeout in the first. Fry's first delivery is outside for a ball. Lowry was the first out of the inning. Fry 2 more away from getting out of the jam after a walk and a stolen base by Casella. Here's the pitch. Swung through by Lipsy. Gets away from Carpellotti, but not enough, as Casella will retreat to second.
Carpellotti alert, realizing Casella was almost able to take third, maybe even go home on a potential hit-and-run opportunity. Was able to get on top of that ball that he dropped and make sure that he stays at second.
1-1 the count to Lipsy, the lefty, against the lefty and Fry. Casella's off with the pitch. Lipsy's going to bunt. He misses the throw to third. In time to get him. Carpellotti put it right on the bag. And the tag from Penny as he's moved over to third. What a great throw by the Georgetown catcher to cut down the runner. And now Fry is one strike away from getting out of this inning. Here's the 1-2 to Lipsy. Down and out for a ball.
Penny slides from short to third. Meanwhile, taking over his spot at shortstop is Drew Farreau, the FSU man, recently named FSU man. He transferred from UCF.
The 2-2 is just low as Carpellotti looked to bring it up. Full count on Lipsy with 2 outs, and now the base is empty. But, man, what a throw by Carpellotti.
Look, he told us in that interview in the preseason, no better feeling in this sport than throwing a guy out.
3-2 to Lipsy is outside for a ball. Fry will walk him, his second walk of the inning. So Lipsy reaches for the second time tonight. And here's Cam Smith. First time up, forwards K. Second time up, backwards K.
That's not the symmetry you want in this sport. But Orleans is going to let Fry work through this and see if he can deliver some Ks. There's nobody in the bullpen.
Lipsy off first. First pitch swing and missing by Smith. Comes from Florida State. They had a down year this year after a first year with a new coaching staff. A lot of transition.
Including Drew Farreau.
0-1. Runners off. Smith fouls it right at home plate. And Lipsy is going to have to take the slow walk back to first.
Drew Farreau, the shortstop now for Orleans, began his collegiate career at UCF, transferring to FSU, where his dad played back in the day to play for, as you mentioned, one of the best coaches in college baseball, Link Jarrett, formerly in Notre Dame.
0-2 to Smith. Lipsy off first with 2 outs. Here's the pitch, high, and Smith lays off it. Fry almost seemed like he wanted to climb the ladder, but just went up a few extra too many steps.
That's the thing. You can't get too cute when you're in a position like this, especially with 2 outs. Just get the job done.
Looking to do just that. 1-2. Smith, swing and a miss. Fry gets the strikeout to end the 5th. We stay at 2-1 at the end of 5 as Fry worked his way around it with the help of Owen Carpellotti's arm. We go to break here, and 5-1 Orleans.
Welcome back to the Birds Broadcast Network. I'm Sammy Miller, and the Firebirds are up 2-1 to start the 6th. I talked to second baseman J.D. Urso before the game, and he said how he was so ready for year number 2 on the Cape, and how the team has one goal and one goal only, which is to win the championship. His veteran experience is exactly what this team needs early on in this season, and at the end of every inning, he is that consistent voice, either getting his team fired up or going over the game plan in the dugout. Guys, back to you.
Thank you, Sammy. As they sit here in the top of the 6th, we move our way into the back half of opening day, a Saturday night affair between the Harbor Hawks and your Orleans Firebirds. On the road tonight, back home tomorrow for opening night at 5 p.m. Special start time as the game is on Nesson. And the Firebirds will take on the Harwich Mariners. First pitch to Fenwick Trimble is in there for a strike. 1 for 2 on the day with a stolen base is Fenwick.
Couple of West Division foes, am I wrong? To start off the season for Orleans.
Second pitch is a strike to Fenwick, 0-2. Now the count. 5 o'clock, as we said, we will still have a radio broadcast, even though Nesson will be the TV footage. But make sure, maybe figure out a way to pause Nesson and put our voices on.
And also, maybe Dylan and I could be making an appearance on Nesson at some point, if they like us, because we're pretty unlikable guys. So, look, just try to find a way to get us on the radio dial.
1-2, the count to Trimble. He flies this one foul. First base side. High and out of play. And I got to say, Ian, Hyannis probably around, 25 to 30 minutes from Orleans, but the faithful has showed out tonight.
It has. I mean, we are sitting right on the first base side with Orleans packed behind us in the bleachers.
1-2 to Trimble, swing and a miss. Lanthier pumps his fist. That is strikeout number 2 for Lanthier in his 3rd inning of work, and he starts it out with a K.
And it hasn't been all smooth sailing for Lanthier out of the pen. So give him credit, staying strong mentally and realizing that even though his night is about to end with a call out of a bullpen, he was able to work through some murky waters and ultimately get the job done.
Lanthier gets Trimble. Now the lefty, Carpellotti, coming up. He will head to the dugout. New pitcher for Hyannis. When we come back from break, we'll tell you who he is, where he's from, and everything about him when we come back right here on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network. Back here on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network on our Orleans Firebirds YouTube page. Toss us a subscription. Just calling out.
Why not?
We're going to have 44 games to go. We hope you enjoy.
You're stuck with us, so just make us feel a little bit better in the process.
Give us a little bit of that notification love. Top 6, Firebirds up 2-1 with 1 out. Recorded and a pitching change for Hyannis, a new big lefty on the mound.
Yes, it's Hayden Frank, the 6'5" sophomore by way of Lipscomb, The Ricefield, Tennessee native was the Bison's shutdown closer. An ASUN second-team selection with a 2.4 ERA, an opposing batting average of just 170, and a whip under 1. 47 Ks in just over 41 innings, and playing a little bit of a matchup, Dylan. The lefty faces Owen Carpellotti, a lefty, and another one, and Eddie Micheletti in the hole.
So Micheletti takes over for Jake Casey. He's on deck. 1 out on the inning. First pitch from Frank is a fastball just inside at 87 to Carpellotti. Not the start he's wanted. 2 strikeouts, but another opportunity to do some damage. The 1-0 to Owen is high. Now up 2-0 in the count. The official scoring was a RBI single for Jake Hyde back in that third inning. He gets his 2 RBIs, and officially the first Firebird with an RBI on the season. There's your trivia question. 2-0 fastball strike to Carpellotti from Frank.
Yes, Carpellotti's Georgetown teammate led the entirety of the Big East in runs batted in, and could he lead the Cape in runs batted in? Maybe.
2-1, curveball up the middle. Nice play by the shortstop, Snow. Toss it over to first for the out. Eric Snow moves to his left, tosses out the catcher, Carpellotti, and a quick first out for Frank. Now 2 in the inning, and the Firebirds will bring on a pinch hitter, Eddie Micheletti from George Washington, another guy with great numbers.
The Delaware native only at 244 as a sophomore, but as a junior hit .310 with an .823 on-base percentage.
First pitch is a ball to Micheletti in the left-handed batter's box. If you want to know anything about how he swings the bat, he does not strike out very often. More walks than strikeouts this year, as he finds himself now 1-1 in the count after a foul ball.
That he does. 48 RBIs, 28 walks. Just somebody who's got great plate discipline. And when you look at him, really physically imposing, just a really well-built guy with a powerful swing.
1-1 the count. Here comes from Frank. Off-speed pitch in there for a called strike. Let's see how Micheletti kind of deals with this. I know a lot of hitters that don't strike out. They like to choke up on the bat. You can see a little bit of choking up by Micheletti. 1-2 pitch is low. Hits home plate. 2-2 now the count. 2 outs. Firebirds up 2-1. Top 6. Frank sets and deals. A 2-2. Micheletti checks his swing. Doesn't matter. Called strike 3. And a strikeout for Frank. He comes in. Ground out. Strikeout. Firebirds go down scoreless in the top of the 6th. We go to the bottom here on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network. To the bottom of the 6th we go here on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network. Riley Fry in his second inning of work faces off with the 4-hitter, Alex Lane, and he might be the first day, Ian, but he's hit some balls really hard.
He has, and a guy who, even at a small school, Northeastern, it's evident he has a lot of pop off that bat.
First at-bat was a line out right into the glove of J.D. Urso at second. Second at-bat was a line double down the left field line. The 1-1 from Fry is low. A few defensive changes. Drew Farreau comes in, plays shortstop. Penny moves over to third, and Eddie Micheletti will go to left field in substitution for Jake Casey. This one fouled back. Count evens up at 2. Bottom 6, nobody out, nobody on. A lot of traffic on the bases, but not a lot of hits. It's been a lot of walks, a few hit by pitches. 2-2, swing and a miss. Fry slows it down to the changeup to get the strike out of lane.
You and I were talking in between the inning, saying Orleans has had opportunities today to break this open and hasn't. And the big reason why they still have a lead is the pitching. It's just not a lot of opportunities for Hyannis to crack this thing open because Fry's been really solid out of the pen.
First pitch, ground ball to Urso. He stays down on it, makes the throw over to first to retire Donay. A hard hit ball, but caught up by the grass on the infield, and Urso stayed down on it. You know, with the coach, his dad being the coach of UTampa, he's going to know those fundamentals pretty well.
He is. I mean, one of the best coaches in all Division II, Joe Urso, 5-time national champions under his watch at UTampa. Pretty sweet.
Takes a strike. I was looking at Mitch Ferris, the starting pitcher for Hyannis. A 2021 national champion is now 1-1 on Eric Snow. Wingate, which is where Ferris is going to school, won that championship, and of course Tampa was in the final 8 of that bracket. They're always in the mix if they're not winning it. 1-2 now on Snow. Fry looking to work through a clean 1-2-3-6. One pitch away. Ground ball to first, but foul. Snow was hit by a pitch back in the second and grounded out to short on a nice play by Penny back in the fourth. Here's the 1-2 again, outside. Runs the count even to 2-2.
Fry just seems much more in control this go-around. It was a bit all over the place last inning, but has had time to settle it down.
The 2-2, Snow with an emergency hack, fouls it back. 2 hits for the Firebirds on the scoreboard, 3 for the Harbor Hawks. Here in the 6th. Pitching rules, 2-2, 2 outs, Snow, grounder to third. Penny stays down on it. The throw over is in time. Nice play by Jack Penny, and that'll do it for the 6th as Riley Fry goes 1-2-3. We go to the 7th here in Hyannis, 2-1 Firebirds here on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network. We go to the 7th as we enter the final third of this one. 2-1 Firebirds here on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network. Dylan Pescator and Ian Nicholas here in Hyannis at McKeon Park. Hayden Frank still in the game for the Harbor Hawks, and taking his first at-bat is Drew Farreau. First pitch swinging, foul ball, first base side out of play. Farreau's got an interesting story and was a really nice guy when we talked about him before the game.
Yes, Farreau, a switch-hitting shortstop, who had an awesome season at Central Florida, set their home run record for a first-year player as he takes a ball on the outside corner. But transferring to Florida State, UCF firing its baseball coach after 7 years in FSU. His father Adam played there in the 90s and was a star.
1-1, big curveball, too high for Farrow. Now up 2-1 in the count. We know he's got some serious pop in that swing.
He does, with those 15 home runs and 51 RBIs.
2-1, swings through that one. When we looked at his stats, a number that kind of stands out is his K rate. It's a little bit higher than what he's wanted to do. So this summer and back in the fall, or into the fall, he's going to try to cut down on that. 2-2, fouls this one back to the netting.
That K rate sitting at 32%, but still pretty impressive how he was able to still hit over 250 and make it on the AAC all-freshman team, despite having a little bit of swing and miss in there.
He's even 2-2 in the count. No outs here in the 7th. Swings and pops this one to center. Barely having to move is Lipsy, and he makes the catch right behind second and about 10 feet from the wall for the first out of the inning. A good swing from Farrow, and I mean, you saw it. He didn't even get a lot of it, and it went pretty far.
It did. I mean, that's the exciting thing. Although he has a little bit of swing and miss, and also has some things to work out defensively. The raw power in his bat is undeniable.
So one out here in the top of the 7th. Jack Penny takes a big curveball for a strike on the inside corner.
Flew out to left in his last time up. Put a good barrel on it. Died just ahead of a track.
The 0-1 from Frank. Penny flies this one back of third. It's dropping. It's in play in the left. Off the fist, into the grass in left field goes Penny for a base hit, his first of the year.
Put it in the right spot. Similar to before, only this one died in the gap in between the infield and the outfield. Just a really well-hit ball from Penny, who shows you he is not just all raw power, but he's got a little bit of finesse and just really a well-hit ball on the left field line.
Penny at first, one out here in the top of the 7th with the Firebirds up 2-1. Cam Smith was at third, but it was a tough play for him. Behind him and dropping fast. First pitch to Urso is in there for a strike, and you talk about hitting the ball hard. Urso did that last time out, but no luck.
Ben Williamson made the defensive play of the day, ranging towards his right, snatching it on the track, and robbing what could have been an extra base hit for Urso.
0-1 Urso pops this one foul. First base side out of play. Now down 0-2 in the count. Austin Overn, the leadoff hitter for the Firebirds, on deck. At first is Penny. We'll see if he tries to take any liberties over at first. He's got a good lead against the lefty Frank, who deals high and outside to Urso. Gets his sign from third base coach Max Fesky. Penny takes his lead. 1-2 the count with one out. Here it comes. Urso pops this one. Back of second. Gonna be a tough play. Out goes Laurie. In comes Lipsy, who makes the catch. Communication is key, and Lipsy did a great job of doing just that. He comes in on the run to make the play on the hit by Urso.
That's exactly what you want to see if you're second-year manager Eric Beatty, because Jack Penny was able to get a base hit where the infield and the outfield had to communicate on the left field line, and, well, it dropped quickly and they couldn't. But that time around, a high fly to center, again dropping in between the center fielder and the second baseman, and the play was made.
Over and swings and fouls this one back. First pitch. Frank's still in there, throwing 89 according to the radar at McKeon Park. 2 outs, top 7. Firebirds up 2-1 in a closely scored defensive affair here on opening day of 2023. Penny off first. The 0-1 offering is high to Overn. And I got to say, Coach Beatty over in Hyannis, he brings in Frank, and just constant lefties coming up for Orleans, putting them almost behind the 8 ball. 1-1 Overn pops this one back of third into left. In comes Williamson on the run. He'll make the catch and end the 7th. Let's stretch here in Hyannis as we go to the middle of the 7th. 2-1 Firebirds as we will stretch it out here in Hyannis here on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network. Right back here, bottom 7. We stretched, we sang. Someone did the chicken dance here in Hyannis.
That's not true.
Ian did not. Maybe later in the season we'll get him dancing if the muscles get a little tight. But speaking of muscles, Sean Matson's got a little bit of work to do here in the 7th. New pitcher for the Firebirds.
Yes, a smart man from Harvard, in-state in Cambridge. Sophomore season this spring, just over a 5 ERA and 61 innings pitched and 59 strikeouts from Chadds Ford's, Pennsylvania, just outside Philadelphia. An interesting story. A great athlete, might not be the best, though, in his family.
First pitch is a ball to Ben Williamson, the 7-hitter out of William and Mary for the Harbor Hawks. Second offering in there for a strike at 91 from Matson, bringing the heat.
He is.
Firebirds up 2-1, bottom 7 here on opening day. Here's a 1-1 curveball fouled right at the plate, but foul.
Matson comes from an athletic family. His dad, Brian, played baseball at Delaware. Mom, Jill, a softball player at Yale. But his sister, Erin, well, she might be the greatest college field hockey player ever. 4 straight national championships won at North Carolina.
Outside from Matson, now 2-2. Doesn't get the chase from Williamson. What a great athletic family. And we'll just harp on it for the entire season, really. Williamson ground ball to second on 2 hops. Urso picks it up and fires to first for the first out.
I know they don't have field hockey over at ASU, but at Syracuse, a good field hockey team always ran into a wall. I wondered, what was it? It was North Carolina and Erin Matson. And she is just such a great leader. She got hired to be North Carolina's head coach of field hockey right after she graduated this year. So maybe Sean's a bit of a leader himself. Who knows? The Firebirds will have to wait and see.
It's that family blood from the Matson family. 1 out, bottom 7. Here's Andrew Sundin. First pitch to Sundin is a curveball for a strike. He flew out to center back in the 4th and grounded out to second in the 3rd. Sundin, an alumni of the Florida League in the Orlando area, played last year for the Sanford River Rats, playing in Sanford Memorial.
Dylan, you're also an alumni of the league.
I am. Ground ball to 3rd. Penny up with it, has the time, makes the throw, and gets the out. 2 ground outs off of Matson as he'll now face Justin Casella.
Matson was also lights out last summer with the Vermont Lake Monsters of the Futures League with a 1.61 ERA and just under 45 innings and 68 strikeouts. So although over a 5 ERA with Harvard this spring, he's got a lot of room to grow and a lot of great stuff that he throws.
Here's Casella, walked back in the 5th. He was thrown out by Carpellotti at 3rd on an incredible throw in the 5th. Back in the 3rd, he struck out. Matson starts him out with a strike. Second pitch, a ball in the dirt. Going back to that, yes, an alum of the Florida League. DeLand Suns were my team last year, working for them, and a great league at that. in the Orlando area. Swung and a miss by Casella at the high fastball from Matson, who's 1 out away from working through a pretty quick bottom of the 7th.
This bullpen started with Riley Fry, now Sean Matson. Looks strong.
1-2 off the end of the bat, foul into the Orleans dugout area.
And that was our one question, Dylan, right? Because the position players look great for Orleans, but the pitching looked a little thin. But the options that have come out of the bullpen after Daniel Ovidia was great have looked awesome.
1-2. Strike 3 called. Matson works through a great bottom of the 7th. 1-2-3. Ends it with a strikeout of Casella. We go to the 8th. Firebirds still up 2-1 here on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network. We go to the 8th here in Hyannis. And the Firebirds have a 2-1 lead here in the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network. Dylan Pescator and my man Ian Nicholas with us here at McKeon Park. A close pitching duel type game. First pitch from Hayden Frank here in his 3rd inning of work as well. He's went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 outs with 1 reaching. That was a single by Penny on the little floater behind 3rd. Down 0-2 in the count is Cam Jones here in the 8th.
Frank, usually a short relief pitcher. He never went more than 4 innings in any appearance with the Bison last year. The Bison of Lipscomb, that is.
0-2 is down. And if I asked you where Lipscomb was, what state, could you tell me?
Well, I would guess, considering Frank is from Tennessee, it was in Tennessee. I hope you don't have the answer and don't embarrass me.
I do not. It's a trivia question. Our trivia question here in the 8th.
What are we, the Yes Network?
Maybe. Flied first base side out of play is Jones. Still 1-2. Jones has had 3 at-bats today, 2 strikeouts, and a walk back in the 5th.
I got it right, Dylan.
There we
it's
go.
In Nashville.
Ian's 1-1 on the season.
Who needs Vanderbilt when you have Lipscomb?
That's right. 2-2 to Jones. Curveball high. Runs the count full. We mentioned a returning Firebird, one of the 4 on the roster. Great numbers at Georgia State and some real speed to go along with it.
Speaking of Andy, we'll talk about that in a second.
3-2. Jones takes. Check that. That was 2-2. So now we're sitting at 3-2 after the curveball in the dirt.
Jones stole 38 bags this past year, tied for 8th best of the nation with Vanderbilt's Enrique Bradfield Jr.
I mean, that guy's at the top of maybe every statistic. Here's the 3-2. Jones over first base. Fair ball into the right field corner. He slips around first. He's going to try to get to second with some speed. He does. Jones laughing it off as he got up and got to second. A leadoff double here in the 8th for Cam Jones, not with a little bit of pizzazz.
You don't see that often. He's so fast. he just completely wiped out, rounding the corner of first, and still turned it into an extra base hit. But also just speaks to just how well hit a ball that was. Got stuck in the corner and right, and Costello had a tough time fishing it out. But really, his first hit of the year and his second year with the Birds is certainly a memorable one.
Hyde now in the box, and as we get closer to the eighth, or we are in the eighth, but closer to the end of this one, opportunities don't come far in between. Line drive to third, but a catch. Smith, who was in on the play with an incredible catch after Hyde just drilled it over there. But great reaction time, and that's out number one.
Which defensive play was better for Hyannis? The Williamson snag in the left early in this game, or that absolute gem over at third on the hot corner? That's why they call it the hot corner.
Some unlucky hits for Orleans, but as I was saying, opportunities don't come all the time. Leadoff double for Jones as he's going to have to head back. We're going to have a mound visit here for Hyannis. Here's the situation. Top 8, Orleans up 2-1. 1 out on the inning. Jones let it off with a leadoff double. Possibly could have been a triple if the cleats didn't get in his way. And now a visit with Frank on the mound.
An arm in the bullpen for the Harbor Hawks. Question is it time to make the change with a runner in scoring position and 1 out? And in a low-scoring game, you let one more run across the scoreboard through Hyannis, you might not be able to claw back from it, even if it's just a 2-run deficit, given just how good the bullpen has been for Orleans and just how great Sean Madsen looked if he comes up for another inning of work here in the bottom of the 8th.
Trying to pick the brain of Coach Beatty over in Hyannis. It's the lefty Hyde and then the righty Trimble back to the lefty Carpellotti. If Frank is nearing his limit, I assume it's Hyde, and then he's probably out for a Trimble with the righty warming up in the bullpen. 1 out, runner on second, Jones. 2-1 Firebirds, top 8. First pitch is fouled at home plate as Trimble stands in the box. Check that. Hyde, of course, lined out to third. So the righty Trimble in the box, the lefty Carpellotti on deck. Firebirds only carry 2 catchers, so any idea of a pinch hitter is thrown out the window. 0-1 to Trimble. Takes it for a ball. Trimble got things started for the Firebirds offense back in the second with their first hit, and they take a single like that right here, right now.
Fenwick Trimble came up in a lot of big spots for JMU this past spring. One more left in him.
1 out, 1-1. Curveball takes it for a ball. Let's see if Fenwick has one more in him.
Trimble did not play particularly well with the Winchester Royals of the Valley Baseball League last summer. Only a 190 batting average. Turned that into a pretty productive sophomore season. Maybe extra motivation.
A few looks from Frank. Here's the 2-1 to Trimble. Swings through the fastball at 87. A single would do the job with the speed of Cam Jones at second. Lipsy, Williamson, and Casella all playing pretty deep in the outfield. Trimble had a huge, powerful year at JMU. Here's a 2-2. Jones is off for third. Pop up in the infield to first. Jones will jog back to second. Over his Lane, who makes the catch, coming back into fair territory. So Jones retreats to second. A fair ball fly out for Trimble. Now 2 outs, top 8, and it's Owen Carpellotti.
Yeah, Lane made a good play on that one. Overran it by a mile. Had himself in foul territory, but was able to slink back into fair territory, as you said. It didn't look like it was going to end fair given where he was positioning himself. But, hey, you make the play, you make the play.
That's right. So leadoff double, looking to not go wasted as Owen Carpellotti stands in the batter's box. First pitch, pop up behind home plate. Dene takes off the mask, and he'll make the catch. The leadoff double goes for naught as the Firebirds go line out, fly out, fly out. Here in the top of the 8th, we'll go to the bottom of the 8th, still 2-1 Orleans here in Hyannis. Back here on the Orleans Firebirds radio network, bottom of the 8th inning, 2-1 Orleans in a close defensive pitching affair. This is the best chance for Hyannis if we go by lineup. 1, 2, 3 in the order. Brad Lowry, Trey Lipsy, and Cam Smith against Sean Matson, who worked a very clean 1, 2, 3, 7th. First pitch fastball right by Lowry for strike number 1.
Matson's certainly come out with his best stuff here in his first appearance as a Firebird, throwing with confidence and attacking the zone.
Goes with the off-speed pitch, gets the strike, now 0-2. The count to Lowry, and the Firebirds have to start counting out. 6 more to go if they keep this lead. The 0-2, slider in the dirt, blocked by Carpellotti. Didn't get the chase, does Matson. As we said, the in-state native from Cambridge. At least that's where Harvard is. But
well, he plays his college ball here. Did grow up in the Philadelphia area.
Close to Philly. And now up 1-2 on the count on Lowry. Gets the slider, but Lowry doesn't chase. He kept the bat on his shoulder. Foul back to the netting is the 2-2. As the count evens up. The 2-2 to Lowry again. Strike 3 looking. 92 down the middle. Freezes Lowry as Matson picks up his second K of the night.
I got to say, out of all 3 Firebirds pitchers that we've seen today, Avidia, Fry, and now Matson definitely seems to be throwing the hardest. And that's what you want towards the end of the game. A guy who's not only going to throw strikes, but just sometimes just muscle it by opposing batters in a game where the offense hasn't been there for Hyannis.
First pitch strike to Lipsy. The offense really hasn't been there for either team. 2-1, and I know the Firebirds have hit into some loud outs, but on the scoreboard where it matters, it's been the Hyannis defense that has ruled. 0-1 to Lipsy. Pop up, third base side. Running over is Penny. Will he have the room? Nice catch by Penny. Over toward the railing of the Hyannis dugout. He puts one arm on the railing. He catches the ball, and Jack Penny with another great defensive play for the second out of the inning.
It's stunning that Penny was having some problems fielding the ball earlier in this game. Nearly made 2 errors in an inning. Definitely made 1 error, which led to the Hawks' only run of the ball game. He's been stellar outside of that one miscue.
First pitch strike to Cam Smith. 3 strikeouts on the day. Sean looking to give him the golden sombrero. Now 2 strikes. Look at the confidence coming off this kid.
He's smart. Harvard, you got to be pretty smart to get in there, and he's been very smart and great.
0-2, 2 out. Popped up high behind second. Back goes Urso. Trimble. Center fielder over and takes it. Matson 1, 2, 3 again. Add another K onto that one. We go to the bottom of the 8th still, or top of the 9th, I should say. 2-1 Firebirds here on the Orleans Firebirds radio network. We go top 9 here in Hyannis, and the Firebirds will bring out a few substitutions. 2-1 the score in favor of Orleans with 1 frame to go. But not only this game are we paying attention to. Ian, give us the around the league.
All right, it starts with Brewster and Bourne with a Whitecaps lead. The Braves 6-4. Actually, that game is gone final. Brewster gets revenge on Bourne. after last year's championship loss to the Bravos. Whitecaps win by 2. Meanwhile, in the bottom of the 8th, Harwich, who Orleans plays tomorrow at Eldridge Park, leads YD 3-1. Again, that game in the bottom of the 8th. And meanwhile, in the bottom of the 5th, Wareham's already put a 10-piece on Falmouth, doubling up the Commodores 10-5 with plenty of game left to go from Arnie Allen Diamond.
They took all the runs tonight, I guess. 2-1 for us here in the top of the 9th. Eddie King will come and pinch hit for Eddie Micheletti.
Eddie for Eddie Swap.
And Eddie for Eddie Swap. You got it, Ian. So King will take the spot of Micheletti in for this at-bat, and then, of course, defensively in the bottom of the 9th. First pitch from Frank, who's still in the game. First pitch strike to Eddie King.
King, the rising junior by way of Louisville, originally from Linwood, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago.
The 0-1 to King. Popped up first base side. It's going to be a long run for Casella, and he ran out of room. It landed actually in the field, but right next to the gate, and Casella had a tough time. It's never easy. Of course, these players have most, I assume, and I'm 99% sure, they've never played in these fields before.
No, unless you're one of the 4 returning Firebirds and probably a few handful returners for Hyannis as well. It's a very interesting ballpark. We definitely noticed it when we came in. It's certainly unique.
0-2 to King. Fouls this one third base side, right near the bullpen of the Harbor Hawks. As I was saying, these players have never played in a field like this. They don't know the dimensions very well. Of course, they've gotten a few practices in, but not a game scenario, and tough to know where's the fence, where's the track, etc. 0-2 to King again. Curveball fouled back to the netting.
He was on top of it, though. It was an off-speed pitch at 71 miles an hour on the radar gun, and impressed King was able to get a piece of it.
It's King, Farrow, and then Penny. 6, 7, 8 in the Orleans order. 0-2 the count. King, right field, but foul, and this one will make the trees.
A really strong at-bat for King in his first at-bat as a Firebird. Played in the Prospect League last year and was the league's player of the year with the Alton River Dogs. A lot of potential for the junior.
Looking to stay alive. 0-2 the count against Frank. He cues this one right past the mound. King to first. The throw from second gets away. King will stay at first. He cued it in the right spot. Second baseman Lowry charged it, made the throw, but it was wide. We'll get the official score. If it was a single or an error, it seemed like a single to me, but my opinion does not matter in the whole scheme of things.
Sadly, it doesn't. Although he was able to put his head on a swivel, Frank originally did not read the ball well, and it leaked too far past him. And Lowry wasn't able to make the play at second either. Infield single to me, too.
King at first with the leadoff single/error until we get the official word. Here's Drew Farrow batting from the right side, the switch-hitting shortstop. King's got a little bit of speed on him. We'll see if he can take second. Every run so crucial, every 90 feet so crucial in a game like this. Here's the 0-1 to Farrow. High and outside. Donay wanted it there and gave Frank a little bit of I like that, even though it was a ball.
King, a little bit of speed? That's understating it. 31 stolen bags last summer. Unreal.
He's got a good lead over at first. He's going to go. The pitch is popped up, foul, out of play. It seems like that's been happening a lot in this game. Runner goes and then a foul ball. Getting their sprints in earlier in the season.
Got to give Kelly Nicholson credit. Aggressive, trying to execute a lot of hit and runs. And once these really talented position players have more at-bats and put it together, if his team full of speed, good with powerful hitters, it's going to be a dangerous offense. Tonight, it's been more dormant.
1-2 the count. Check over at first. King safe. Lane with a little swipe tag as he was standing a few steps in front of the bag. No outs, top 9. Orleans up 2-1 here in Hyannis on opening day. Another check over on King.
And King, his cousin, pretty well-known MLB player, Corey Ray, currently the first base coach for the Marlins. He played in the Cape. for Wareham back in 2014.
1-2 for broken bat, single into right field. King's going to make the turnaround second and go for third. Here's the throw. Goes over everybody. King's going to score as the ball gets out of play. Farrell's going to get third as the ball jumped into the stands. Orleans now up 3-1 here in the top of the ninth. A little broken bat luck out of the Firebirds.
What do we say? When these bats come alive, the speed is going to come in the play along the bases. And honestly, I think Eddie King's pure speed just made that throw from right field a lot of pressure with it. And ultimately, so much pressure that it popped in the ball that was thrown, flew out of a park. You said they don't know the dimensions of this field. They're not used to it. And right there, an airmail throw cost a run for Hyannis and a backbreaker in such a low-scoring affair.
That was Casella in right. Here's Jack Penny. Takes a first pitch curveball low. Farrow stands at third. The umpire ruled that he was closer to third as the ball went out of play. It's a two-base advancement, of course. So Farrow at third. First pitch. Penny dried it left field. Williamson back. Farrow's going to tag. Catch made. Farrow to the plate. The Firebirds add on another. 4-1 as Penny does a job. Sack fly, gets the RBI, and Farrow scores. Now a 3-run lead for Orleans.
The runs have come in bunches today for the Birds. Crooked numbers in the third and now in the eighth. A two-spot in both innings. And by the way, that first run of this frame, just a few moments ago when King scored off the hit from Farrow, that errant throw from Casella in right ruled an E9. Second error for the Harbor Hawks today.
A mound visit. That'll do it for Hayden Frank. Hyannis makes a pitching change. 4-1 Firebirds. Top 9 here in Hyannis on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network. We'll be right back. Top 9 here on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network. 4-1 the score as the Firebirds add on 2 more here in the top of the ninth. The Harbor Hawks make an error on Eddie King's cue ball past the mound. Another error by Casella as he threw it over the head of Cam Smith at third into the stands, which allowed King to score. And Jack Penny drives in Farrow on the sac fly to left, making it 4-1 Orleans here, top 9. New pitcher for the Harbor Hawks is the righty.
Carter Lovas from William and Mary, not the only member of the tribe on the field today for the Harbor Hawks. You got to remember Ben Williamson's really been the one bright spot of what's been a tough game so far for Hyannis. Lovas, the 6'3" rising junior, all CAA first team selection in the spring. The first tribe pitcher to land on the first team in 9 years. Pitched just under 54 innings with an ERA slightly over 3. Tied for third in the league with 7 saves and a 5-1 record.
First time in 9 years. Look at that. Some CAA love here on the Firebirds Broadcast Network.
Well, we've got James Madison's own Fenwick Trimble in right field.
First pitch from new pitcher Lovas to J.D. Urso is a strike. Here comes the 0-1. High in on the fastball. Evens up the count on Urso. Urso takes the off-speed pitch low. 5 hits for the Firebirds, 3 hits for the Harbor Hawks, 2 errors for the Firebirds, and 3 for the Harbor Hawks. So not a very cleanly defensive affair as Urso fouls this one off his foot. It'll keep him in this at-bat as it went to the mound.
As we mentioned earlier in the game, this win to start the year, a little sloppy, but it would mean a ton to Urso, considering his father, Joe, the coach at U Tampa, coached every single person coaching in the dugout for Hyannis tonight.
2-2, ground ball to short. Snow picks it up, makes the throw over to Lane for the first out of the inning. Or check that second out of the inning.
Urso will probably finish the night with just a hit, but really impressed with what we saw out of the infielder. Barreled a couple balls earlier in the game, 1 a hit, 1 robbed and left by Williamson. For a guy who only hit 193 last summer with Orleans, seems like he's going to have a bit of a brighter summer this go-around.
And not only offensively, and he's made a few good plays defensively as well at second.
Yeah, a guy who hit over 350 and was an all-conference selection at U Tampa. He certainly has a resume to back up his good play today.
Over in the box for the 5th time today. 0 for 3 with a walk and a stolen bag. 1-0, fly ball to center. He got under it. Over is Lipsy and Casella, and Lipsy will make the catch. That'll do it for the top of the 9th, but not before the Firebirds score 2 more. With Eddie King coming across along with Drew Farrow, Jack Penny with the sac fly RBI. A few errors aided that one, but we go to the bottom of the 9th. Firebirds 3 outs away from finishing this one off, and a new pitcher to come to close it. We'll tell you all about it when we're back right here on the Firebirds Radio Network. Bottom 9 we go here in Hyannis. Firebirds lead 4-1 over the Harbor Hawks and are 3 outs away from starting the season off 1-0 here on June 10th, a.k.a. opening day of the Cape Cod Baseball League here in 2023. Tomorrow will be a 5 o'clock start, a special home 5 o'clock start against Harwich as the game is on Nesson. But we will also have a radio broadcast on our YouTube page right back here where you found us with my man Ian taking the reins tomorrow for the home opener. But to close it out, Chris Clark from Harvard, Ian.
Yes, Chris Clark, the righty, teammate of Sean Matson's, a rising senior, also from just outside the Philly area.
First pitch to Alex Lane is in there just a little low. At 94. Second pitch, line drive to right. In comes Trimble. Diving catch! Fenwick Trimble comes in, dives, and makes an incredible play for out number 1.
Chris Clark throws heat, but able to catch up with it and line one to right. And robbing a base hit. The defense today has been sloppy at times, but there have also been some great displays from both teams.
First pitch swinging. This one just in front of Trimble as Dene breaks his bat, but reaches. 2 for 2 on the day are broken bat singles. And Dene will stand at first. Up is Eric Snow as the Harbor Hawks record their 4th hit of the night.
This game very much still alive. Chris Clark has come out throwing his usual mid-90s velocity, but Hyannis has been able to catch up to it and is only down 3 runs.
Eric Snow in the box. First pitch from Clark. In there for a strike at 94. It's been the highest velocity we've seen today from both teams. At first is Dene. Not being held on by Hyde. Second pitch, same spot, same pitch, same velocity. Carbon copy, 0-2 now to Snow. Clark sets, runner at first, Dene. 1 out, 0-2 the count. Does not chase after the slider, and confirmed by the first base umpire.
Clark, a second-team All-Ivy selection during his junior year with the Crimson, led the league in opposing batting average at the Mendoza line and went 4th in the ERA.
Dominance. 1-2 to Snow. Here it comes. Slider down the first base line, but foul. A little bit of an emergency hack by Snow. Just got it at the last second.
Talk about a velocity drop with an off-speed pitch at 77 and a fastball sitting at 95, 96. He certainly poses a challenge.
Count 6 at 1-2 with 1 out. Fastball, cold, strike 3. Dials it up to 96 with the heat for out number 2.
He dials up the heat early and often. An Ivy All-Tournament team selection this past year who is top 15, not just in the Northeast, in the nation for strikeouts per 9 at 12.7. And he's a returning Firebird who was a closer for this team last year and kind of resumes that role here.
Down to their final out are the Harbor Hawks in the bat of Ben Williamson. Runner on first is Dene. 2 outs. Firebirds up 4-1 here in the bottom of the 9th here in Hyannis on opening day. Clark's first pitch is down for a ball. Here's the 1-0. Once again low. 2-0.
Florida's closer, Brandon Neely, expected to join the Firebirds soon when Florida done with NCAA tournament play. But, man, Chris Clark, he knows this role for the Birds, and he knows how to do it well. But behind an account 2-0 here. Can he get back?
Williamson 0 for 3, or 0 for 2 on the day with an error. Goes with the off-speed pitch for a strike. A little cutter from Clark. Starts inside, gets over the plate. 2-1 to Williamson. Firebirds 1 out away from going 1-0. Here's the 2-1, a little bit high. Tried the cutter again.
In fact, Florida just swept South Carolina. So Neely's going to continue to be closing games out for the Gators, and Clark's going to continue to be closing games out for the Firebirds. Let's see if he can finish his first closing effort here strong.
3-1, swings through the fastball at 94. So 3-2, 2 outs. Firebirds up 4-1. 1 runner on first in Dene. Let's see if Clark can finish it. The 3-2 pitch. Popped up foul, first base side out of play. UF will now be moving on to Omaha in the College World Series for Neely. But, I mean, could you imagine Clark and Neely closing for this team?
Oh, my goodness. An elite pitching performance could get even better with a guy like Neely. But you got to think about the present here and now. Close this game out.
3-2, 2 outs. Clark again. Swing and a miss. Chris Clark says, turn out the lights on night 1, and the Firebirds take it 4-1 here in Hyannis on Saturday night.
A tough season for the Firebirds a year ago by their lofty standards. Did finish 3rd in the East, but a loss in the first round. The YD put that officially in the rearview mirror as Kelly Nicholson begins his 18th season as a Firebirds manager with a win against a Hyannis team that stunned the Cape last year Kelly Nicholson, nothing flashing in this game, just great pitching from start to finish. Began with Avidia, ended with Clark, and an offense that showed a lot of potential, left a lot on the table, but was still able to put together 4 runs perfectly enough for a win.
4-1 the final. It started out with Jake Hyde, who didn't even start in this game. He came in the first inning after Aiden Longwell got hurt. Sammy told us that things are looking better with Aiden. Maybe just a rolled ankle if all things go well. We'll get an update tomorrow. 5 o'clock tomorrow, home game, home opener. Harwich comes to town at Eldridge. Game is on Nesson, but also right back here on the radio broadcast for the Orleans Firebirds on the YouTube channel. It started with Jake Hyde with a 2 RBI single. Hyannis got one back in the 4th. We went back and forth with a couple donuts, but then the top of the 9th started by Eddie King, kept going by Drew Farrow, Jack Penny with the sac fly, and then Chris Clark came in to dominate to close, and that'll do it. Firebirds win 4-1 here on Saturday night.
Definitely the way you want to set the tone for this season. Nice to pick up a win in interleague play. You return to East Division play tomorrow at 5 o'clock against Harwich. Just a lot of impressive performances. Jake Hyde certainly came up big. And then, of course, you've got Danny Avidia. I mean, we've got to talk about what he was able to do from Grand Canyon. Joined the team yesterday. Doesn't know his teammates too well. His brother, David, a Firebird back in 2019. And now in the Cubs system. And his brother, Daniel, picking up where David left off 4 years ago, throwing 4 or 5 good innings and ensuring in a 2.5-hour game where the pitching was prevalent that the Firebirds would walk away with a win in his first start with the club.
So again, here on the post-game show for the Orleans Firebirds radio broadcast, don't go anywhere. We're going to have an interview with the player. Not sure who yet. Maybe Chris Clark, maybe Daniel Avidia. We're going to see who's free, who's ready to talk, who's a little bit interested to get on the radio. But overall, I mean, it started with Avidia, like you said. The pitching was so dominant for the Firebirds today. Other than a few chances in the 4th, 2 runners on in the 3rd, there was not many chances for the Harbor Hawks today on offense.
No, and it's because Daniel Avidia's changeup was arguably his best pitch today. And you had a chance to talk to him before the game while he was getting warm over in right field. And he told you, I've got a fastball and I've got a slider, but changeup is the thing I want to add to my game. And that's the beauty of summer ball at the end of the day. At Grand Canyon, he's an excellent pitcher. But when you're playing for your college team, you don't want to necessarily experiment in the middle of a season and maybe derail what you do. But Daniel Avidia was able to use that changeup super effectively tonight. A 3-pitch mix that was dominant, set up his bullpen well, whether it was Fry and then Matson and finishing with a former Firebird and Clark. It was a solid performance start to finish. Kelly Nicholson's a pitching guy, and they were able to get it done. Also, a nice little scene out in front of us here from McKeon Park as J.D. Urso catching up with the coaching staff of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks. I believe J.D.'s father, Joe, also here. The U-Tampa coach taking a photo with the entirety of the Hyannis Harbor Hawks pitching staff, who all have ties to the Division II powerhouse. So, look, at the end of the day, these two teams want to beat each other, but there's a lot of connections in this baseball world, and it was nice to see the Urso family get a win in the U-Tampa rivalry that we have here in the Cape League.
We're going to have to get him on the broadcast soon enough. I mean, what a coaching specimen and a great pedigree, of course, from the Urso family. The Firebirds are wrapping things up on the field. Through a few names, I've been confirmed that Chris Clark is going to come on when we come back from break. So stick with us. Don't go anywhere. We're going to get the dominant closer for the Firebirds who earned the save on the broadcast for a few minutes before we wrap it up here from Hyannis. Right back here on the Orleans Firebirds Radio Network, Chris Clark, the Harvard man, and the closer for the Firebirds tonight. Chris, thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me.
You were dominant out there, reaching 94-95, coming in 4-1 lead. Did you have the idea that you were going to come into close even before the top of the ninth?
Yeah, I talked to Coach Lawler and Skip, and he said that if we were winning or tied, I had the ninth.
So 2-1 going into the ninth. Eddie King, Drew Farreau, and Jack Penny get 2 more on the board. Must have took a little bit of stress off your shoulders.
Yeah, that's huge. That's a great job to them. It's way different coming in 1-run game versus 3-run game.
Of course, a returning Firebird at that. But first game, opening night, the lights bright, the stands filled. A little bit nervous out there?
Yeah, I mean, it's special. I was glad to be here last year and glad to have the opportunity again this year. So it was really, really special for me. And I want to shout out my teammate Sean Madsen. He did a great job in his debut. Same with Riley Flynn and Danny. So it was a good effort overall by the staff.
Pitching was incredible. Hitting, you could see a little bit of unlucky today in terms of the fielding. I mean, Williamson with the great catch in left, Cam Smith at third with a great catch. But overall, how were the vibes? I mean, day 4 or 5 that you guys know these guys, but how does it feel in that clubhouse?
Right, the vibes are good. We were going to go to Fenway yesterday, ended up getting canceled, but we got to spend some time with each other. We got to spend 5 hours on the bus together, so I think everyone's meshing pretty well.
Sounds good, Chris. Thanks for joining us. Firebirds are 1-0. The man of the save, Chris Clark, coming in, 2 strikeouts and got the fly out to right as he finishes off the first game of the year and the first Firebirds win of the year.
Thanks for having me.
Awesome. So, Ian, before we go, we have to ask one more time, give us some scores from around the league.
No, of course. Obviously, an exciting day. The Centennial season getting underway today. It starts with a win for the Firebirds, but not everybody can go home winners as Orleans able to take the win on the road over Hyannis 4-1. Let's look at the rest of his scores from around the CCBL. And a rematch of last year's championship series and the year before that. The Brewster Whitecaps able to get revenge on the Bourne Braves. Final score 6-4 from Stony Brook. Meanwhile, the Chatham A's were supposed to play the Cotuit Kettleers. That game was postponed due to bad weather as the start time was supposed to be 5 o'clock from Lowell Park. But a game that was played and was a close affair from White House Field. The Harwich Mariners will come to Eldridge Park tomorrow 1-0. A 4-3 win over the Yarmouth Dennis Red Sox in an East Division clash. Meanwhile, in an offensive onslaught, Wareham, the gateman, blowing the doors off the Falmouth Commodores at Artie Allen Diamond. You know, that's why they pay me the big bucks. 11-5. The final score there. That game's still going in the top of the 7th. So Wareham's got the opportunity to add even more runs to the scoreboard. And obviously the 5th and final game here on the Cape was right here. A 4-1 win for Orleans over Hyannis. Birds 1-0 to start 2023.
So we got to thank a few people. Our producer, Will, Sammy Miller, our sideline reporter, Ian, myself, put on the broadcast. Game 1 of 44, thanks to our, of course, other interns. My man Alex coming in clutch, getting Chris Clark on the radio broadcast. Hopefully we can get him on a few more times, which means Firebirds win. So 1-0 are Orleans as we headed tomorrow. Keep in mind, 5 o'clock first pitch tomorrow at Eldridge against Harwich. My man Ian on the call. Pre-game will be about 20 minutes before, maybe 15. We'll get you all set for the home opener in Orleans. Firebirds 1-0 after a 4-1 win over Hyannis on opening night. Good night, everybody.